We move back to the start line and another big battle. Conor Shanahan speaking about it in the pre-show that he's a little worried about Felix Lindvall. Lindvall has been rising steadily. He's got his mirror is nervous. The car is nervous. Felix Lindvall isn't nervous. Felix Lindvall, an incredible driver. He's been rising through the ranks, but Shanahan said, "This is my year. I got a strong, a strong start." If you look at the other, big names that have finished last year in the high rankings, Jack Struve, James Dean, Piotr Więcek, Conor Shanahan wants to do the same, but Lindvall would love to upset the party here, and Lindvall in the chase position can go for broke here, knowing Shanahan is a very smooth and very tidy lead driver, and if they're looking good in qualifying, this is going to be an interesting one. Anything can happen here in Drift Masters as they leave the line.
Yeah, it certainly can, Dave. And Conor Shanahan would be worried about this one because Felix Lindvall has got a lot of talent. Nice initiation from Shanahan, though, as he comes down. Lindvall now starts to dial out the angle, looks for that GT86 as they transition back into outside zone 4. Lindvall goes deeper than Shanahan in outside zone 4, reining him in, flicks on the angle, looks for the transition. Lindvall lazy on the transition zone, wastes the time and makes a big dive and contact onto the door. Lindvall risked it all for a shot at this weekend.
Well, it's the same story we watched through the whole of the top 32. These Irish drivers, looking comfortable on a circuit they know, and the international driver almost eliminating themselves. I mean, Lindvall was really in the fight there, not perfect throughout it, had made some errors, but throwing it all away with no chance at the end by making contact at a slower section of the track. Just a little bit of inexperience there.
Yeah, it was for me as well. The transitions were lazy from Lindvall. If you watched him behind, he was wait and wait and wait. Look, this one, for instance, he came way wide, waited for Shanahan to get the job done so he could try and make the dive down onto the door. For me, it was just, he risked it all, really, for nothing. He could have easily have played that one a little bit safer, and look, he out of that zone, made the big dive, bam, big tag onto the door, the quarter panel, the rear wheel.
Yeah, you can see the wheel of Lindvall's car dramatically. Watch this, watch the front wheel. Boom. So he's out of control at that point. As you can see, he's off power. And what happens sometimes with a jolt like that is actually pushes your foot off the accelerator or off the clutch. I mean, let's be honest, if you're in a regular car and you're hitting another car at 40 miles an hour, it's not just going to be, oh, well, whatever. So it's a bit of a jolt in the car. And these guys are obviously strapped in super tight, so that impact travels through the car into your body very, very quickly. Safety, obviously, paramount here. And this is to protect them, but also you feel everything. So Lindvall almost giving himself a huge disadvantage there. He won't be happy with that. You can see usually a smiley guy, but not so smiley right now. And Conor Shanahan will have got the word from the radio to say, look, he's pretty much shut down after you there. All you need to do is just get this one done and move on to top 16. Shanahan, experienced driver, despite his years, will probably listen to that advice.
No, he won't. He won't listen to that advice. He's going to go door to door with him, Dave. That's no way to put on a show. And look at this, Conor Shanahan is going to put a show on for the crowd. Felix Lindvall fires in that front bumper, can't handle the pace as they come through inside zone 1, out to outside zone 3, down they come into outside zone 4. And Shanahan now starts to put it on the door, and Felix Lindvall feels the pressure, DBs a tyre and flicks the car into the gravel, and that is all she wrote for Felix Lindvall. Conor Shanahan, well, just strengthened his championship, Dave, once again.
It's just incredible to watch that we haven't watched too many international drivers finish both runs in this top 32, and I think it's overdriving, as you said again. Lindvall way too fast into that corner. Now what happens with this corner is, remember, the edge of the tarmac is the edge of the track. Then there's about 2 feet of concrete, which is sort of like your safety zone, and then there's a big dip into the gravel, which has been dug up by so many cars. So you're almost 2 feet over the edge of the track when you're hitting that gravel, and that means you're going just too fast.
I think Felix Lindvall here was just trying to drive away from Shanahan, knowing Shanahan had the pace. And you can see that on this transition. Look, gets on throttle super early, and he's way, way deep into the outside zone 4 already. Goes super wide as soon as he drops the wheel, and you can see Conor Shanahan does a very, very good job there of evading contact, drops down out of the zone early and gets himself away from trouble.
It is dangerous because when you watch Lindvall, he stops instantly, and Shanahan has to stop instantly.
It was the way the car just
jolted
turned
the other way,
around, flicked around.
Well, if it's taking a tyre off the bead, it's a violent switch, and I think Shanahan will have watched that happen and go, he'll know instantaneously in the car that that's enough to get him through to top 16. But for me, Lindvall, again, just a little overdriving the car, and I think this maybe that first round, maybe all the expectations, I gotta go win, I gotta go do it, we put so much into it, and all of a sudden overdriving the car becomes such a natural thing to do.
Look at that, 3 wheels up as the car turns itself around, and Lindvall's in that car as a passenger as it debeats.
Yeah, no coming back from that one.
No.
And our recovery, and here's the impact from the first run, and you can see Lindvall just fires, and he's not stopping that, and you can see straight away once the steering wheel starts to jolt, it's a big mistake.
Yeah, but what are the judges looking for, Dave? Is there anything? Oh.
No, this will be Shanahan slowing is what they're looking for, I'd imagine.
And if you watch the top of the windscreen, Ready, wait for the brake lights now.
Okay, so the question will be, is it a left foot brake, which doesn't, you know...
Is he slowing too much in a full throttle zone?
Yeah, the decel is to the wall, so once they get past the wall, they should be on throttle. Let's see, oh, Shanahan, he slows momentarily? That's an interesting one. I mean, this will be an analyzation that the judges are looking for to see, is it enough of a slowing? I mean, this is the...
Two young superstars. They're saying, well, you know what, it was fun while it lasted. Let's see who gets the win, though, and advances through to the top 16. And there we go. Oh, we got split decision.
It's going to be a one more time decision between Conor Shanahan and Felix Lindvall. Oliver Randalou commiserates with a burnout and then sets his car on fire. So that's what happened while Kevin was... So you can never take your eye off the old Drift Masters European Championship. There is fireworks all over the circuit, and one battle that's getting ready to go back on the line is an interesting one. Conor Shanahan and Felix Lindvall, who've, you know, gone door to door into the gravel contact, and now they're back at it again.
Well, I mean, the only thing I could take away from that end of that conversation that Conor had with Becky was that Conor said, that's the way I'm going to drive. The attitude from him was, if you don't like it, then... Adapt to it.
Judges don't like that phrase. They ain't going to adapt.
It's like he was directly talking to the judging panel.
He said, I'm not adapting, and the judge said, well, you'd want to, because we're going to deduct you for it. So that's how that works.
Well, look, Felix Lindvall, he gets another roll of the dice, Dave. What does he do this time? He knows the pace from Shanahan, and now he has to deal with it again. He gets left once again on the initiation as Conor Shanahan fires down. Felix Lindvall, though, reins him in a little bit. Let's go with the left foot brake as they fire into outside zone 4. Shanahan on that perfect lead line, but Lindvall gives him the room, doesn't want to do too much too soon. Now looks for the transition. Up onto the wall goes Shanahan. No braking this time from Shanahan as Lindvall deals with it. Doesn't get too close and leaves a little bit in the bag.
Yeah, well, Shanahan did adapt. That's what he did. He adapted. He basically said, if the judges are going to deduct me for slowing there, I'm not going to slow there. First wall, he kind of goes on a little bit of an over-rotation. Yeah. So it exaggerated Lindvall's mistake more, and now Shanahan's in the chase. And I think he's going to be driving with a point to prove here. I think he's probably a little disgruntled with the first call. He's now going to leave nothing to chance here.
Are you trying to hint that Conor Shanahan might be a little bit angry?
A tad
disgruntled.
That's the word. It's a polite word, frankly.
Well,
so let's see what happens.
Yeah, they're off the line. Here we go. Through the gears they go. Look at this. Shanahan already bringing that aggression as he jumps across onto the back end. Felix Lindvall just 15. Oh, catches a big understeer. Has to get back into it once again, but uses that as an opportunity to make the dive. The transition doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to as he handbrakes into outside zone 4. Felix Lindvall, though, on a very nice lead line. Was that mistake creeping in from Shanahan? They get up into the wall. Lindvall destroys the back end of the F15 on both walls as he gets for outside zone 7. Shanahan hunting him down.
Well, you got to give it to Shanahan. He took a risk, and it may have paid off from there. The proximity was excellent throughout the run, but that lead run from Felix Lindvall was incredible.
Second to none, Dave.
So, I mean, we're seeing the best two runs from both of these guys so far in the competition. There can only be one winner, and as far as I'm aware, it is the last battle of our top 32.
Right, let's watch it back now. Look at the understeer. Massive amounts of understeer once again for Shanahan. And
but at the same time, Ian,
he doesn't. But watch this transition, Dave.
Yeah,
he's almost handbraking in a straight line.
Yeah, but then you got to trade it off against the proximity, and you know, Lindvall has no proximity. Yeah, is he making those errors because he's going for it and Lindvall's a little bit more relaxed? That's what the judges are going to be talking about.
Of course, 100%. Yeah, and I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I just feel
Lindvall's doing a great job here.
Felix Lindvall's lead line was absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if Conor Shanahan was trying to overdrive the car. I think that's maybe, we've seen it all day.
And you can see getting a little bit of understeer here as well. I mean, but he's staying on angle. It's not a straighten, but maybe that's just so much grip dialed into the car. It's overpowering the front wheels of the car. Lindvall says, S15 taillights, they are just worth absolutely nothing. Let's just slow-mo smash one of those.
Them into the wall.
Yep. Again, a man in the car park looking on, going... Oh,
polishing his ones.
Another guy. Yeah. So let's see. We got a decision to come in. It's got to be a decision one way or the other. Who is going through to the top 16? It's Conor Shanahan. Conor Shanahan gets the win and goes through to the top 16. He's had to do it the hard way. Yep. And we move back to the start line where two Irish drivers will face off. Alan Hines and Conor Shanahan, two guys who have climbed through the ranks at the same time. These guys were sitting in the amateurs, the rookies in Ireland, same time. They started drifting at the same time. Alan taking a lot of his experience to the Middle East, to the sim world. Conor jumping up to the European stage, but two guys that are very capable. We've watched, if you're an Irish fan, these guys go door to door many times. If you haven't, you're in for a treat.
You certainly are in for a treat, Dave. But the one thing is, they might have travelled all around the world in different places and done it online. And now it's time to do it in the real world in top 16. Alan Hines creeps through that start line. He knows that Shanahan's fast through the gears. Goes Shanahan in that GT86 as he flicks the car. And big separation as Alan Hines is absolutely left waiting behind to see if he's got anything he can do to throw into this battle as Shanahan lays down in outside zone 4, fires the car across the circuit, looks for the wall run, gets it absolutely spot on as always, as Shanahan applies the throttle once again. Alan Hines tries to apply some pressure, but it's too late.
I'll tell you what this is a good example for me, Ian, is the difference between a high-level pro car at national level and a high-level pro car at European level. That's what you're seeing on that run-up. It's the grip, it's the way it's set up, it's all of that. Because everyone's so fast on the European stage, it's very difficult to turn a national pro car into a rocket ship like these things are. And when you paste those European cars together, it might not be so obvious, but that is a 750 horsepower ORB powered R32 looking very slow.
Yeah, I mean, look, it looked like it was left sleeping off the line. It just goes to show you the level of grip and power that these pro-European cars have now.
And they have to have, because we are watching these guys get faster and faster, more and more grip. I mean, we talked about it at length, and I mentioned it yesterday, that the tires they run on the rear end, these are soft, super soft, sticky 285 rear tires that you can put your finger in it and you'll still see the mark of your finger there about an hour later. These are like soft rubber, and they're then running them so low on tire pressure. You're talking like 10 psi, 15 psi sometimes, and then you're dialing all the suspension like a drag car on the back of the car to put maximum squat, that the car squats down on those tires. And then you're trying to drift it. You're trying to lose traction, which is the opposite of what you set the car up to do. So you can imagine how difficult it is to drive.
Yeah, it's not easy. These guys have a hard task on their hands, and there we go. And we can see some damage taken onto that car earlier on in the day of Alan Hines. Well, he now sits in the lead position, and I am already going to say, expect to see Conor stuck to the door of that Nissan Skyline through the gears. Goes Alan Hines, and there we go. You can already see Shanahan not letting Alan Hines get away. He knows he doesn't have to do too much, but he's going to try and do enough right now. And Shanahan backs out of it a little bit. Doesn't want to push too hard, doesn't want to damage the car, and fires in, and that is what I'm talking about. Not doing too much. You could put yourself in a risky situation. Goes for the transition. Alan Hines looking good in the lead. Oh, 90 degrees to the wall, dismantles the rear bumper. Shanahan gets on the door just to stamp the exclamation mark on it.
Wow. That's incredible. Two Irish youngsters showing what they're all about. And for me, I thought Shanahan had thrown it all away. Went way too fast in behind Hines. And I don't know how he stopped that car. He did use Hines to stop a little bit of it, but it was so close to a spin. But he hit the front brake, hit the handbrake, did a little Irish jig on the pedals, and somehow he was...
say it.
Hey. It's okay when I say it.
Okay.
But I'm saying, like, watch this. What does he have to... He transitions. This is definitely an accident coming up here. Watch, look. Whoa, uh-oh, I'm going way too fast, and he manages to slow it down. Look, comes way too fast in behind.
He knows it as well. Look, watch this.
Front brake left, hits Hines. And to be fair to Hines, he stays in it. Stays in it, and a little wobble from Shanahan there. And then, again, huge proximity from Conor Shanahan. But look, there's definitely a big bump on the door here. Yeah, but he gets away with it. It's not too heavy. Great reactions from Conor Shanahan, and of course from Alan Hines, staying in it, staying committed on that outer zone, not letting it affect him. And then once Conor Shannon's got away with that, he goes, well, I better stay in it now at this point. He goes real close around the whole track. Two excellent runs from these guys, but we're going to see who's going through, and it's going to be Conor Shanahan. Conor Shanahan goes through. Conor Shanahan goes through to our top 8. And on a day when he felt not that comfortable in the car, he's now through to the top 8. So it's always the same with the Shanahans, as I say. Now, another big, well, who could stop him? Well, it could be Conor Shanahan if he gets by Pontus Hartmann, because Conor Shanahan is still in the competition right now as he represents the hometown crowd against Pontus Hartmann, who you also cannot count out at this stage, because he's been just swimming through all of his opponents so far and letting them make all the mistakes.
He certainly has been. You know, this is bonus time again for him. He is just having an absolutely brilliant weekend. He's back up off the line. He knows that Shanahan has the pace to go in. There's one Shanahan down. Can Pontus Hartmann be the man to take down the youngest Shanahan as he creeps through that start line? He knows he needs to go for it now. Shanahan through the chicane, through the gears, down they come. Pontus Hartmann needs to react, and he doesn't react, and Shanahan stands on it. Starts to pull away already, and Pontus Hartmann can feel the pain from Conor Shanahan as he gets into outside zone 4. Now Hartmann makes the dive, gets into the back bumper, gets into the rear quarter of Shanahan's 86 as they transition up onto the wall. Pontus Hartmann, once again, separation. Shanahan onto the wall, looks for the final outside zone and across the line.
Yeah, well, Shanahan said in his interview with Becky that he was back in his happy place. Well, that looks exactly where he is. Pontus Hartman trying to play the game of jumping out as early as he could, but he went too early and had to slow down, and Shanahan got that, you know, accordion effect and got away, and at that point, Pontus Hartman was playing catch-up for the whole run. Shanahan looking better run after run here.
Certainly is, Dave, and as you can see, look at this, absolutely dialed as he comes through outside zone 3, and Pontus Hartman makes a very clever calculated dive here. He knows he can go shallow on outside zone 4 and make a dive up to the door, try and impress the judges, but at this point it's almost too late. That initiation is where judges are weighing a lot of the scoring done there on those first 2 zones, and Pontus Hartman here again makes an error on the transition, leaves some room. You can see the way that car accelerates away from Shanahan. So much grip dialed in, puts it to the wall, and Shanahan is gone.
Well, it goes to show that, you know, it's such an interesting championship because you have Piotr Więcek take out Jack Shanahan. Now his brother gets the advantage against Hartman. If he wins, he goes up against Więcek. So it's all to play for still here today at round 1 of the Drift Masters European Championship. Więcek still in the fight, irregardless of it not being his perfect day. He could still win the event, and then it is a perfect day. Because today, you just got to survive. You got to be good, even if you're not great every run. Don't be bad at any point. And that's what's happening. A lot of these drivers are making unforgivable errors that they can't come back from. And Więcek hasn't made them. Neither has Conor Shanahan, and neither has Pontus Hartman. Here we go. Second half of this battle, ready to lock and load.
Yeah, certainly are. Through the gears, through the chicane they go, and Shanahan not really taking too much of an advantage here. He knows Pontus Hartman spins the wheels as they come down, fire in. Hartman goes on big angle, has to dial it off though on inside zone. He goes wide, super wide. Oh, wow! Wow, that car looked like it was almost going to go over. Very good job there from Pontus Hartman to save it. And Shanahan now going to finish up the run. And Pontus Hartman just tried to do what many others have done, Dave, by going too hard and too fast.
Yeah, way too much speed into that first corner. He went into the old washing machine. And you know what? Very lucky all 4 wheels of the car stayed on the ground. That was a big hit with the rivets that have been dug out by so many drivers. Look how harsh this is. Hits it, boom. Car jumps off the ground. And unfortunately for Pontus Hartman, it looks like that'll be the end of his weekend. Still a very solid weekend for Pontus Hartman. A great result. Top 8, he would have taken that. He would have taken your hand off for that on Thursday evening. But it goes to show that Shanahan just backing off a little bit, saying, not so sure that's going to work out. And backing off is the right option because, as you can see, Pontus Hartman goes off the circuit as Conor Shanahan does a great job of just saying, oh. And I mean, if you're in Conor Shanahan's car there, you're seeing dirt and bumpers fly up the side of the car. Still gets to the outer zone after that. You can see him how much he's taking some souvenirs from Mondello back with him. A couple of jars of clay in the back wheels, and it's going to be, I think, a pretty easy conversation for the judges, which means if Conor Shanahan does win, he is going to go against Więcek, and it is going to be a win for Conor Shanahan. Conor Shanahan gets the win and goes through to the Final 4. And boy, do we have a Final 4 lined up for you. And they're getting the opportunity here in front of the home fans in Ireland to do it. But Więcek has been battling. He's been fighting. He's been the champion. Because it's, you know, it's like every good football team. Sometimes you got to win ugly. Sometimes you got to win the 1-0s. You got to just get the result. And Więcek is better than anyone in the business at surviving when it's not going his way. Let's see what happens. I cannot wait to send these two off the line because it's been such an unpredictable event. We now have Conor Shanahan looking, to me, more relaxed than Więcek going into this. But in an instant, it can all go wrong. Even if you're the favorite, it can all go wrong. Drifting is a cruel sport. Who will survive the top 4 battle between Conor Shanahan and Piotr Więcek here in Mondello? Hold your breath, hold your seat, because this one is going to be a wild ride.
It certainly is going to be a wild ride, and it's for a spot, for the final spot in the final. Who's going to take it off the line? The higher qualifier. Conor Shanahan leads in Piotr Więcek, and they go bumper to bumper already. Oh, wow! And a big understeer moment, but Więcek holds onto it. Shanahan on a blinder of a lead at the moment. Więcek slows that car down, balances it on the rear quarter and the door of Shanahan's GT86. They transition back, they look for the wall as Więcek goes for it, looks for the dive. Shanahan absolutely pinpoint perfect, but Więcek is all over him.
That is incredible driving. Więcek has no right to hold out on entry. That shows beyond, that's even beyond talent, that's instinct. He loses that car in a split second and gets it back in a split second. 90% of drivers are going like an arrow into the lead car there. He stays in it. Conor Shanahan gets the cheer from the Irish fans as he heads back up to the line. But Więcek, look, understeer, and he gets handbrake back on it, doesn't miss a step.
Wow.
I mean, we've watched a lot of drifting, Ian. I'm not going to lie to you.
Wow, that would have been a crash any other day.
Yeah, we've been watching drifting 10, 12 years. I have never seen someone save something like that before and stay in it and probably even take the advantage. For me, Więcek's going to take an advantage here for this run. Even with that small error, he had incredible proximity on Conor Shanahan. Now, take nothing away from Conor Shanahan. Perfect lead run, as you expect. But Więcek throws caution to the wind, gives you that wow factor. The goosebumps went up as they went to the wall, and he slams the door of Shanahan's car and says, "Not today."
He had an answer. Więcek had an answer for every single move that Shanahan made. Więcek had an answer. He was there.
And watch this. He could back off now. He says, "No, I'm not backing off. I'm pushing this kid across the line." And that's exactly what he did. Conor Shanahan, the intimidation, the mind games that go into those last couple of moments on a run. Więcek leaves the exclamation point for the judges and an exclamation point for Shanahan, flexing his door in on the other side of the car and saying, "Oh, I'm here."
Well, there we go. Back down on the start line they are. Now is Conor Shanahan's opportunity to chase down Więcek. But we know Więcek's fast. Really fast.
I mean, this is the bit of whether he has an answer. Shanahan's got to leave this line early. He's got to play this perfectly. He's got to leave at least a car length early here if he's not going to catch Więcek here. And Shanahan's got to go deep here. He's got to probably go to an uncomfortable level. Więcek has a perfect chase, but he has a wobble on the first corner. If Shanahan can tidy that up, he's got to go close. He's got to be inches here or there's no chance. The nerves in Mondello Park, you can see it in everybody's faces here. This is what this sport is all about. It's nervousness from everybody as they hold their breath. The grandstands are ready, the banks are ready, Shanahan's ready, Więcek's ready. It's for a spot in the final. No holding back now. Take a moment, take a breath, because we are not going to get one for the next 40 seconds. The light goes red, the light goes green, and Shanahan's off and he's running. Shanahan's going for it here.
Yeah, Shanahan knew he had to go for it. He had to go for it. He had to find the pace. A big initiation from Więcek, and he starts to pull already. And can he hold on to it? He can, but Shanahan gets understeer. He manages to balance it. Now he finds the door of Więcek's S15 as he shallows up once again. He looks for the transition. He's all over the back end of the S15 as he jumps onto the front wheel. Shanahan hungry for it, but he just can't find an answer for Więcek.
Wow. Conor Shanahan gave that everything that car had and more. He was at one point four-wheel drifting, staying in that battle. I've never seen anything quite like this. These guys are going beyond drifting, even into rallying at this stage. Four-wheel drifting for Shanahan. Look at Więcek's car lifts a front wheel on initiation. The grip dialed in is insane.
This is so fast. Look at the understeer. Look, Shanahan understeers massively, finds himself back in it, but he knows he has to keep himself in the fight. Somehow needs to keep alive. And Więcek, on that point, after outside zone 4, is a man possessed. He's dialed, Dave.
Well, here's the thing. If Shanahan wins this battle, he goes to the final, right? Irish in the final. If he doesn't, once again, for 2 years running, the internationals fall apart in the 32, but get to the final and lock out the Irish. Shows how competitive this championship is, right? When you've got Dean out in the top 8, McKeever out in the top 4, it could be all the Irish out.
It could be.
By the final.
By the final.
But I don't know. Więcek makes an error, so does Shanahan. I'm just saying, there's a lot of discussion going on. And two incredible drivers, and the fans here are witnessing history in the making. Who is going into the final? It's going to be Piotr Więcek. Piotr Więcek goes into the final in Ireland for 2 years running. And I said it, Ian, it's not about being brilliant all the time. It's being brilliant when it matters.
If he can take as many points away from this round as possible, he stands a better chance at the final.
Well, look at this. If he goes to third place on the podium, he's not that far behind Peter as we head to round 2.
Exactly.
You know, and Peter and Lauri Heinonen now, who's a championship contender, let's not forget.
Yep.
Where Dwayne McKeever, not a championship contender. So he's sort of the cat amongst the pigeons here. Shanahan, but they've both done incredible runs all day. I just think we got to sit back, enjoy what's about to happen next, because these boys are not going to back down. It's for a third step on the podium at round 1. Dwayne McKeever wipes the sweat from his brow, saying that was a stressful 15 minutes getting this car back going, but he's still in the fight. Shanahan's ready to go, McKeever's ready to go, door closed, light on, green light means go, and we are away.
We are away, and I didn't think Dwayne McKeever's car was going to pull away from the start line then. Shanahan through the gears, goes for the opposite flick, makes it work, but look at McKeever, he knows he needs to stick with Conor Shanahan, and he gets close on initiation. Down they come through into outside zone 4, and Shanahan breaks the car, and that allows allows McKeever to enter the pocket. He gets up onto the wheel. They transition through fire. They look for the wall as Shanahan accelerates away. Can McKeever gain back that lost ground? It doesn't look like he can as they get it done.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen Dwayne McKeever outpaced on a run around Mondello. Conor Shanahan's car is very good.
Very good.
And so is the driver behind the wheel, because that was an exceptional lead run. But look at this from Dwayne. Little tag at over 70 miles an hour. And this transition from Dwayne McKeever, he threw caution to the wind, right up onto the door. Another little tag from Dwayne McKeever. This is incredible.
Unbelievable stuff, unbelievable. But for me, yeah, look at these little nudges from Dwayne McKeever. As soon as he let him get away, though, on that wall run, that was it. Shanahan was up and gone. There was no way that McKeever could regain that lost ground. And Conor Shanahan drove away, and probably the most critical point, not being door-to-door.
What's happened is McKeever's nudged into Shannon. It's delayed his transition. Yeah. And as they come into the last corner, Shannon's on the throttle a lot earlier when McKeever's on the handbrake, and he's getting ground on him there. So a little bit of separation towards the end of the run leaves it sort of in the pocket for Conor Shanahan. Might have a little bit of an advantage, but McKeever's got all the proximity. He's done his job in the chase. He was super close. Conor Shanahan, well, what has he got? What has he got at this stage? What's left in the tank for this young man?
Well, any experience, anything he has right now, he has to use it. Any tool he has in that tool bag in the passenger side, he needs to pull it out and use it, because he's going to have to use it against Dwayne McKeever. They screen down an already separation, and McKeever absolutely fires that car in on initiation. Big transition back. Now Shanahan shortcuts the circuit. They jump into outside zone 4, and Shanahan is wheel to door as they transition back for the wall. They go. Shanahan knows he can't let him go, and he can. He goes. He shallows up the angle once again. McKeever across the line.
I have no idea what Conor Shanahan did on the first transition. How did he catch up that ground? That was kamikaze stuff from Conor Shanahan as far as I'm concerned. As they came through that transition, he'd lost Dwayne McKeever. Watch this again. They initiate, McKeever gone. Shanahan, no answer. And you think that's going to be the end of that. Watch the transition from Conor Shanahan. Wow, so early. Lets the car lift and goes all the way up onto the door and back into the fight. Incredible fight from Conor Shanahan. Is it enough? I have no idea. Hard to say. Judges are going to take their time with this one.
They certainly are going to take their time with this one, Dave. I'm not sure how they're going to play this one out. For me, McKeever, any mistakes in that lead position, this is where it's going to come down to now. The smallest of errors, the smallest of margins in lead and chase. We're splitting hairs that are so fine, Dave, that everyone at home right now has probably thrown their computer and their TV in the bin.
Well, we got a decision in, and taking third step on the podium will be Dwayne McKeever. Dwayne McKeever survives clutch failure in the top 4 to come back and take third step on the podium, and the shake of the head means that was a close one. Conor Shanahan will have to settle for 4th place. Not a bad start to the season for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's going to be tested very quickly. Like you say, he's going to be pushed to the limit straight away. We do have a buy run now. Unfortunately, we heard that news earlier on with Becky and Adam Zalewski. Adam Zalewski suffering valve failure in the cylinder head, some damaged valves. So they didn't want to risk the engine. They decided to retire from competition to, there's only 4 weeks between now and the next event. They didn't want to go all the way back to Poland with a completely dead engine and then have to travel all the way back to Finland. So taking a wise decision, taking a step back. It makes sense at the moment. And now we see a buy run from Conor Shanahan, whose team worked tirelessly through the night to repair the head gasket on this car. And this now will be a bit of a confidence booster for Conor Shanahan. Throwing that car in, getting the grips back on the car again, feeling it out, making sure it is 110% before he goes head-to-head with the one and only Lauri Heinonen.
Well, it looks so far like there's no issues with that car, and I don't want to curse him with the commentator's curse, but right now Conor Shanahan doing what Conor Shanahan does, very technical, always aims to please the judges, does a very nice smooth line around the track. It's got him so many trophies over the years. That car looks to be 100% for me, and I am absolutely so excited to see what happens between Heinonen and Shanahan, because that's a top 16 battle. That's almost staged like a final, because if one of those guys goes out in top 16, their championship hopes may be on the rocks. So that's going to be very interesting to watch, and it's the first battle of our top 16 later on today. So it's going to be building up nicely as we go, and there's a long way from here to there, but for right now we've got Lauri Heinonen and Conor Shanahan both into the top 16, but going head to head.
Certainly do. So there we go. There is the buy run from Conor Shanahan as he makes his way around the circuit. Finishing up that run flawlessly, to be fair, as well. Very, very nice run, and kind of shows what we're going to look forward to when we see Shanahan and Heinonen go head-to-head. We have to make it official. Decision drops in onto the screen. It will be Conor Shanahan advancing through to the top 16 later on this afternoon. Then we move it along to a man that I spent a bad qualifying session yesterday for both of the Shanahans, falling way down in the order, but Conor only having one qualifying run to get the job done. The engine failed and they rebuilt it overnight. Lauri Heinonen looking strong, cool, calm and collected. The flying Finn pulls into the lead position. 2 91-point runs, the consistency, the key, and he's looking strong already in his top 32. What can he do against this man? Well, he has the weight of the world on his shoulders right now, Conor Shanahan. He's been fighting for a championship for a few years. He said this year was the year. Will Lauri Heinonen, the Finnish driver, be the man to take him down? Shanahan edges forward on the handbrake, jumps the start line. Through the chicane they go. Heinonen versus Shanahan, the first run of your top 16 underway. Big initiation from Heinonen as he absolutely screams away. Puts a little bit of ground between him and Shanahan. But now Shanahan edges up onto the door. Conor Shanahan goes for the kill straight away as they come down the hill into the outside zone. Shanahan has to brake to avoid the inside, to avoid the curb, and now allows Lauri Heinonen to put some distance between himself. Shanahan once again finds himself on the inside. They transition back outside zone 8. The whites as they go to the wall. Shanahan on the back bumper. Wow. Well, and just as much as we hyped it up, they delivered. What an incredible run. Dave, welcome back to the commentary tower.
Yeah, caught that one in real time on the way up here, and it was fast and it was furious. Conor Shanahan going for everything on the first corner. That's the highest difficulty part of the track, to be close, and he did. But he paid the price. He got a little too close and had to back off as well. But you know what? He knew the style, the quality of Lauri Heinonen. He had to make it work. And just here, I think he gets lost a little bit in the smoke, but he stays in it. It's not a massive error. It's not a huge deduction. But Heinenen's car, just when we get to this midsection, looks like it's faster than anybody else around here.
It certainly does. It looks like it just pulls away and puts some ground between him and Shanahan. Look at that big understeer. You can see him winding back the steering wheel as he turns into that final outside zone, slowing the car down. Shanahan going for the kill, looks for the door, just can't seem to get right up onto the front wheel, manages to get onto the back bumper with the door. Shanahan, though, you know what, doing an incredible job for a man that's been through hell and back last night.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when it looks like the engine failure is happening before qualifying, you're dreaming of moments like this, to go to a top 16 and be fighting it out and getting points on the board for the championship. Look, he did really well at the start of the run, really well at the end of the run. In the middle, he lost Heinonen a bit, and that's going to play into the strategy of Heinonen now, because his spotter is going to have to say to him, look, Conor was on your door the whole first and last section of the course. If you can make the mid-section count here, you're going to get the win. And Heinonen will take all that information to this next run and know this is a huge one for the championship. This is what it's all about. You can claw back a lot of points in the early stages of a championship to keep your dreams alive. And right here, with a lot of home support from a neighbouring Finland, which is just over the border, Heinonen has probably more fans in that grandstand than any Swedish driver, and they're willing him on right now. Shanahan is under pressure. He said the car is under pressure, and I think this is going to be fireworks from the off.
I think it certainly is, Dave. Well, we've already seen fireworks in the first half of the run. They come through the chicane, through the gears. Shanahan now under pressure in that lead position. Can Lauri Heinonen get the job done? He doesn't initiate where we thought he would. Maybe he thought Shanahan was a lot slower, or is he going to reel him in? He tries to reel him in, but Shanahan does have the pace. Now starts to accelerate away as Lauri Heinonen leaves him some room to manoeuvre, doesn't get up close and personal onto the door. Can he rein him in? They transition through in front of the grandstand. Now Heinonen starts to apply the pressure, starts to turn the screw. Dangerous transition from Heinonen. He dives onto the door. He looks for the side of that Toyota GTA 6. It's not clean from Shanahan in the last outer zone.
I'll tell you one thing, it's got to come back to proximity for me. I mean, Heinonen didn't have it through the first section of the course. We talked about Shanahan's proximity through turn 1 and 2. Heinonen, he almost gets, I think, a little caught by the speed of Shanahan's car through those first sections. I'm not sure he expected him to be so fast. Conor, very smooth throughout the course, does make an error towards the end of the run, but it's not a major error. The line is pretty solid the whole way through, and I expected Lauri to be a lot closer on that run than he was. And as you can see, at this point, Shanahan's on throttle. Heinonen has to wait. He's on the inside line, and he makes a big dive here. Heinonen, watch this, on the inside. This is good proximity, but he goes on big angle. It slows him a little bit for the transition. It's going to be really in the balance with the judges here. As far as I can tell, two exceptional drivers putting in exceptional runs, and we haven't had a whole lot of that this event so far. What I wanted to see was a good clean fight between these two guys, and that's what we got.
Yeah, we certainly did, Dave. We did get a clean fight, no messing around. Both cars performing 100%. Look at this. As Shanahan takes a little glance over, he can see Lauri Heinonen right there on the rear bumper across the line.
Yeah, I think the judges are going to look at Shanahan's first corner and the first run in the chase position. That's the most difficult part of the track to be close.
Yeah.
And he was close all the way down. He lost him a little in the middle, but was it, if you played it side by side, I think Heinonen was probably a similar distance back. So more proximity from Shanahan. Heinonen doing a great job either way. It's going to be a close decision no matter which way this one goes. And it's going to be very big ramifications for the rest of the year, I think, in the championship as well. It's themselves here, Ian, about who they think is going through. It's for a spot in the top 8. Will it be Shanahan? Will it be Heinonen? And it's going to be Lauri Heinonen getting the win. Heinonen gets the win. And that is a huge statement from Heinonen. Beating Conor Shanahan is a massive, massive statement. If you wanted the goosebumps to raise on your arm, what about the youngest ever winner of a Drift Masters event going up against the youngest winner of a World Rally Championship? It is Kalle Rovanperä in the Toyota Supra going up against Conor Shanahan in the GT86, both from the Red Bull stable, but they will not be on the same page for the next 5 minutes. They are bitter enemies on the track, good friends off it, but expect fireworks from the off here as Rovanperä puts that car back to 100% overnight. Shanahan has been sitting in the pits talking to his brother Jack Shanahan about strategy for this battle. It has been all night, no sleep for both of these guys, knowing that the first battle they have may be the biggest of their career, and that's how we're kicking off round 3. Shanahan laser focus, Rovanperä laser focus, lights will go green, and here we go.
Yeah, and here we go indeed, Dave. This one we've been waiting for, and look at this as Rovanperä stares across. Shanahan flicks the car across the circuit. Rovanperä dials it in, he's on the door already, up onto the wall. They go, Shanahan tries to get away, but Rovanperä shallows the angle, looks for the side of that GT86 as they transition through the centre of the circuit, up onto the wall. Goes Shanahan, and Rovanperä on his heels as he makes a big dive down on inside zone 5. Now they get back into it, back to the bank section, up onto that final outside zone, across the line, and Rovanperä is with him.
There you have it. Straight from the off here at round 3, we have an electric battle as brother Jack Shanahan looks on, shakes his head and said, now that's going to be tough to beat. Conor Shanahan did everything he did in his qualifying run, go out to the edge of the circuit, get that line right, but Rovanperä said, not today, buddy, you are not getting away. Made some big moves, Ian, and made it stick. That entry was death-defying.
It was death-defying, and he knew he had to make the dive on initiation because he knew he had to stay with Shanahan. And look at this, they both get in there, that mirrored the angle. Judges were talking earlier on in when the practice was going on about shallow angle in the chase position. No such thing right here from Rovanperä. He did shallow up the angle, but he was anticipating the line before he made the transition. Almost made contact. Does evade that outside zone 4, but look, he has got major proximity as he makes these transitions and dives onto the door. And you can see that Supra, look, diving in through the window of Shanahan's GT86 as Conor slows that car down outside zone 6. Look at this, a big dive once again. They make their way up onto the wall. Rovanperä says, this is it. This is the do or die moment. Push up onto the door, get the exclamation mark stamped, and see what the judges have to say.
Well, Rovanperä has done all he can do in the chase position. Now he is in the lead position. Shanahan has to dial that car up to 11 now and get on the door of that Toyota Supra. Shanahan knows that a good run's not enough here. A great run's not enough. An exceptional run, or he's going home.
He certainly is going to be going home. And you know what? He's in the fight for the championship this year, and he wants this one. And he knows Rovanperä, look, he's been playing around this year, in and out of events. Can he make it happen? Look at Rovanperä right to the edge of the circuit. Doesn't mess around now. Rovanperä on the wall. Shanahan, though, with him. Shallows up the angle, looks for that inside zone, dives across the circuit. Shanahan wheel up on the curve. He's starting to fall behind. Hasn't got that proximity. Whoa, dangerous transition, though, from Shanahan. This is do or die moments from Shanahan. As Rovanperä looks for that final zone, he's on the wall and up and gone.
Incredible stuff from Kalle Rovanperä and Conor Shanahan. And if you ever wanted a little bit of a highlight of how competitive this championship is, well, you've just watched it. Two of the young guns in the sport showing you exactly how bright the future of this sport is. They're only getting started, these two young men, and they're already stealing the show. But to me, it was all about pace there. Shanahan struggling to stay with Rovanperä through the first half of the course. He was closer, Rovanperä. Shanahan, moments of great proximity. But then when Rovanperä put the wheels in motion on that Supra, out of the slower corner, Shanahan losing a little bit of ground.
He was, and look at this. He shallowed up the angle quite a bit there before he left outside zone 2, and he was wheels up on the curb there. And I kind of want to rewind a little bit there just to see if Rovanperä was where the judges want to see it. There's two white lines, on the circuit, and that's kind of where the front of the car needs to be for the lead car to allow the chase driver to get in it. Look at Shanahan there as he balances that car through the smoke on the transitions. He's making brave moves, Dave, on a track where there is nowhere to get it wrong.
Absolutely. Now, again, towards the end, a little bit less proximity, but I will say one thing. Rovanperä maybe not as good a lead run as Shanahan when I'm looking back at it. So Shanahan with a better lead run, Rovanperä with a better chase. That's how I'm seeing it at the moment. It could go either way, or it could be a one more time. We have absolutely no idea what the judges are going to say, but both of these young men, very, very good friends behind the scene. They've been, you know, in each other's paddock. They've obviously, Conor's gone over and checked out some of the World Rally stuff, and so has Rovanperä checked out some of the drift stuff. Great friends behind the scenes from two different disciplines, but right now, the biggest decision of the top 32 will drop in, and it is going to be a one more time between Conor Shanahan and Kalle Rovanperä, and I guarantee you there won't be one complaint anywhere about that decision. It was basically Rovanperä cutting the track a little bit too much in his lead run and Shanahan being left for dead. Will they have changed the setups? They'll have a look at the first battle. They've definitely learned from that. This one is going to be fireworks, because as far as I can tell right now, both of these guys are going to have learned a huge amount from the first time around about each other, about the track, about the setups, about the grip. This is for all the marbles.
It certainly is all about the marbles, Dave, and they would have fought themselves out. They would have felt each other out. They would have known what they do. They would have definitely have made some small adjustments here in the car. Well, here we go, across the track goes. Oh, wow, Shanahan! And Rovanperä mounts the door of Conor Shanahan's GT86, but Shanahan, like a beast, keeps himself in it and absolutely fires through the circuit. Rovanperä keeps himself in the game, but there's definitely damage to Shanahan's car as he goes off track. It looks like there could be damage on that rear wheel. They go up to the wall, across the line. Oh my God.
Well, I was just about to say Shanahan almost dropping two wheels off the circuit, but I'm wondering, was there any major damage done from that impact on the first corner? It was a big one. As they came off the lot, we're going to see this absolutely perfect from our drone pilots here. As Rovanperä tries to get too close on entry, he surges forward, and as they transition, he hits heavy into the back wheel and the door of Conor Shanahan's car. And how Shanahan keeps it out of the wall with all that extra momentum pushing him forward. You can just watch the front of that Supra just flex. Not only up the wheel he goes, climbs the rear wheel, smashes into the door, and then keeps himself out of the wall himself. And they stay going. It's not like even we call it there, they stay in it. But Shanahan definitely has got to have suffered some sort of damage from that as he comes through. And if he hasn't, as they transition back, I mean, it would be an incomplete from Rovanperä. He completely stopped drifting, but is it an incomplete from Shanahan here? He goes very wide to the edge of the track over the white line. So does he drop two wheels off the track as well? Or what way will the judges see it? I have absolutely no idea. I don't have to make any of those decisions, which is fantastic. But what I will say is that they both have moments in that could be categorized closely as a zero. But I think for me, Rovanperä causing a lot of those issues there with that big impact on the first corner.
I think that's for sure. So there we go.
So remember, if Shanahan just does a clean chase run here without any errors, he will get the win. If Rovanperä well, he's not much he can do except try and put on a really good lead run and maybe create an inactive chase, get a lot of pace through the course and see if Shanahan can't catch up or falls way too far behind. But it's going to be very difficult in a car that I think is not going to be very easy to drive for Rovanperä's sake. And this would be two top 32 exits for Rovanperä in a row, one with a mechanical failure and the second with a crash. He is certainly having a roller coaster of a season in Drift Masters, and Conor Shanahan, all the nerves would have subsided now. He knows just get the job done, and Conor will know, oh, I can drift this track. I'm the top qualifier. All I've got to do is be smooth, be steady, and get it done.
Yeah, certainly so. So we await confirmation. Looks like our track start line marshal Martin down there just having a word with Kalle Rovanperä.
He's saying, if you turn the steering wheel right, does it go right? Rovanperä's like, sort of, kind of. Just send us. We'll be fine. We'll figure it out ourselves. The question is, if he goes into that first corner and the car doesn't react the way he wants it to, he can go straight in the wall and we can have a lot more damage on that Supra than we do have right now.
Yeah, so there we go on the line. I do believe it's just a slight hold up on the circuit at the moment. So as soon as we get that sorted, we will be underway. No other problems, so no other panics. As Kalle Rovanperä sits in a car, ready to rock and roll. Yeah, I mean, look, the danger for Conor Shanahan now, really, in my mind, is an inactive chase.
And I don't think he's going to let that happen, because I think he knows Rovanperä, irregardless of how good or bad the car is going to be, you know, finishing the run. So he's not going to be too scared of Rovanperä. He wants to he even said he wants to put a show on for the fans. Does he take it as a bit of a, like, here's a chance for me to push the World Rally Champion around the track with nothing to lose?
Yeah.
Does he take it as a, let's do a little bit of practice here for the next run, how close I can get, because even if I make a massive error, we still get it one more time. So for me, I think Shannon's not going to be too far behind. Rovanperä, for me, watch the front end of that car. I'm not too sure if it's 100%. It's going to be a sketchy one here, I think.
It certainly is. Well, they're off the line. Kalle Rovanperä to lead in. Conor Shanahan for the second half of the run. Nice initiation from Kalle Rovanperä, no messing around, doesn't make any mistakes until the car is working. He runs the spoiler along the back, on the wall, now looks for that inner zone. Cuts the nose off there, right across the front of Conor Shanahan. Doesn't get deep into outside zone 4, but now gets to 5 and goes very wide. Big flick back for 6. Shanahan makes that little dive in, doesn't do too much, does enough to prove he can take down Kalle Rovanperä.
Yeah, look, it's a proud moment for both of these guys to come out here and put, you know what, after a bit of a messy start to that battle, go out there and prove how good they are. That was a clean battle, great run from both drivers. It's not going to overturn anything, it's not going to change anything from the first half of the battle. But what I like about it is that, you know, Rovanperä goes out on his feet, right? He goes out there, shows us the potential of what could have been the rest of his weekend without that impact. He was on it, he had a brilliant chase run against Conor in the first battle. It's unfortunate, but that's drifting. You go too aggressive, you go too close. And, you know, Rovanperä had a very interesting interview with Nick Bright yesterday saying, you know, in a rally, you have 2,000 corners, so you can make a mistake and get yourself kind of back into it. In drifting, you might have 4 corners, but one mistake and your weekend's over, and I think he's fallen foul of that.
I think he has fallen foul of that, Dave, and you know what, all down to the initiation, and he just tried to be too greedy, just tried to take too much out of it, but unfortunately, Kalle Rovanperä knocking himself out of competition, and he knows it, he knows what's going on, and Shanahan says, well, I'll take that one, because I don't think the rest of the day, Dave, is going to be that easy for him.
No, because he's got Pavel Grosz next if he goes through, so it's going to be tough. So let's see which way the judges go. We think this is going to be a pretty obvious decision, and going through to the top 16, we'd imagine it is a formality, and it is Conor Shanahan getting the win and going through. I think you'll know that's coming. Rovanperä bows out in top 32.
Can he take down the man right now that top qualifying yesterday and took out the WRC Rally champion? Well, he's been asked the question, can Conor Shanahan face it? The judges said that this man right here, Shanahan, if he continues with that qualifying run, that lead line that he's been doing all day, all weekend, he is going to be a tough competitor to beat. Grosz sits on the line with a car that looks a little bit more battered and bruised than it usually does from a top 16 or a top 32 competition, where Oran Nilsson took a chunk out the back of it earlier on today. They get the thumbs up all round. Marcin, our start line marshal, has donned his shirt, which means it's game time. It's time for business. Grosz takes a step back. He wants to run in. The light goes green. This is it. Top 16 is underway. Shanahan to lead out. Pavel Grosz, 286s, 2 sturdy competitors, but Grosz takes a shallow line in outside zone 1, but look at Conor Shanahan deep into outside zone 2, but there's no shaking the Polish driver as he now flicks it through the circuit. Deep into outside zone 4 goes Conor Shanahan as he looks for Grosz. Grosz makes a dive, knows not to take too much out of it this time, but he gets up on the inside. Look at this, onto the door goes Pavel Grosz. He tags the wall across the line.
Incredible stuff from both of these guys, Ian, and the electric atmosphere in here is definitely going to mean some of these drivers are going to push probably harder than ever before to impress this sell-out crowd in the Mikko Salo circuit in the Power Park. I'll tell you one thing, Conor Shanahan not putting a foot wrong in that lead position. Pavel Grosz having to do a little bit of cutting to catch up. He takes a shallow line through the first corner. Shanahan looks like he's figured this one out. He's figured out that lead run all the way from top qualifier yesterday. Right now, he looks like he's not putting a foot wrong, but Grosz does a good job of staying in the game. He stays in contention all the way through, but he's not hitting those zones. He's not matching the angle. And right at the end, he does make an unforced error. He tries a last-minute dive onto Shanahan's door, and he hits the wall hard in the chase position. You'll see as they go up onto the bank, Grosz goes deep, hits the wall, and straightens out just across the finish line with all 4 wheels pointing the same direction as he goes across that finish line. Judges won't miss that.
No, they won't. They won't miss a trick, Dave, because they've got all the camera angles and every single view of this circuit. Looks like Pavel Grosz taking a moment to cool that car down potentially. The sun's out, Dave. It's hot down there on the track. And look, we have a 2-minute clock. These guys have to return back to the start line within those 2 minutes. It's getting warm. It's getting hot and heavy down there. There's a lot of tension in the air. I can feel it.
Everyone wants to win this one, that's for sure. And the crowd here are making everybody drive over and above their ability. I mean, I'm down there with goosebumps on my arms. Everybody's just feeling the vibe of this incredible event.
I was up there emotional myself, Dave. There was an engagement on track. We had an incredible top 16 parade. It was a moment to be had there.
It was one of those "Are you not entertained?" moments. It was a lot going on. Conor Shanahan, I think, sits with a little advantage here. Grosz making an error. However, Shanahan now jumps into the chase position, has to make the decision. Does he go super close to seal the deal, or will he make an error if he overcommits? Grosz was very good on his lead line in the top 32, so let's see how this one matches up. I love the fact that we've got 2 very similar cars here, so this is going to be all about the driver.
It certainly is all about the driver. And we know that Shanahan's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience under his belt. Well, here we go, off the line we go. Pavel Grosz to lead them in. They flick the cars from left to right through outside zone 1. Little dip up and down. I think Conor maybe on the curb there. Pavel Grosz on a beautiful lead line at the moment, though. Shanahan dips the nose at 86 onto the door. Good transition back from Shanahan, and Grosz right to the wall. Incredible lead through the centre of the circuit now as Grosz goes even wider again. A little wobble from Shanahan as they fire through outside zone 6. Look for the wall. Up, no problems this time, but look at Shanahan on the door.
I think it's going to come down to that last corner. Shanahan just having that little bit more aggression and no mistakes. I think, you know what, Grosz did an amazing job in the lead position. That's the best run he's put in all weekend, and he needed to. He needed to climb back into that battle. However, at the same time, Shanahan has a little wobble here. Look, jumps forward a little bit. He saves it, but it's not smooth from Shanahan on the first corner. But once he gets into the groove, it's pretty smooth from there. And I think the one thing is he's got a lot more proximity throughout the entirety of the course. Like Grosz, who is cutting a lot of the track. Watch how wide Shanahan is here in the chase. He's almost just to the edge of the box, so he's not on the inside of the track. Judges will be watching that. Shanahan transitions a little bit too early here, in my opinion. He has to sort of extend the drift a little bit, but he does recover very, very well and get back onto that last wall run. And where Grosz hits the wall, Shanahan does not.
Yeah, I think it was a textbook. A few moves there from Shanahan. He got himself back into the fight. You know what? Taking nothing away from Pavel Grosz because it was an incredible lead.
Yeah, right now both Shanahans are still in the competition, but will they be after this result? Pavel Grosz doing an incredible job of getting up close and personal to Conor Shanahan throughout the run. The results are dropping in, and it looks like going through to the top 8 will be Conor Shanahan. Conor Shanahan gets the win and goes through. He's taken down Rovan Pera. He's taken down a Pavel Grosz who's on form. This is a huge battle for the championship. If you're a European drift fan, you know what this means. This is the big game. All the marbles. Shanahan versus Rintanen. Here we go.
Yeah, look at this. Shanahan fires the car from left to right, but Rintanen dials him in, almost hits him on initiation. Has to back out of it. Shanahan gets into the outside zone, clinical, and lead already from Shanahan as he fires through, and now Rintanen dials in the grip, dials on the angle, looks down the circuit as he goes for it, but he makes a big mistake there on outside zone 5 as Shanahan looks to get for that final outside zone. Up on the wall they go, across the line.
Great stuff from two steely competitors. Some moments, though, throughout the run, it looked like Rintanen was going to make contact on the first corner, but he didn't. He held it together. Again, that experience of being in those tight situations, he was able to get himself out of trouble. But look, he fires in very close to Shanahan, has to slam on the brakes, gets back in it again, but he loses a little bit of ground. Look how close this was. Oh, it's a little contact. Yeah. So Shanahan doing a good job of holding on to that one. He's been hit a couple of times today on that initiation. Not so heavy like it was with Rovan Pera, and Shanahan still absolutely nails the outside zone.
Yeah, that's a very nice lead line from Conor Shanahan. Look how close he is to the wall there on outside zone 4. But for me, though, look at this. Watch this from Juha Rintanen. He makes it, you can't see it there on that shot. He made a mistake there, and as he come into the wall section again, not as close, just can't seem to be on the door, and then almost hits Conor Shanahan across the line.
Well, look, I'm going to say there's a tale of two halves of this battle, because right now it looks like Juha making some errors, but I'm guaranteeing you that on this battle, Conor Shanahan is going to struggle to stay with that GR86. So is he going to start cutting the track and bring it back into the hands of Rintanen? Hold on to your hats, here we go.
Well, we're going to find out. We won't need long to find out. The light goes green. Here they go through the start line. Juha Rintanen through the gears, flicks the car across the circuit. Shanahan knows he can't let Rintanen get away. He's the fastest man around Sweden, but he is the fastest man around Finland, and it doesn't look that way. As Shanahan applies the pressure, gives him the room to transition now. Shanahan pops the wheel over the curve, tries to shortcut outside zone 4, waits for the dive. Oh, tags Rintanen as they come through outside zone 5. Shanahan applying the pressure this time, and Rintanen can't get to the outside zone.
Oh, I don't know if I have the emotional stability for the rest of this. This is incredible. We are watching drivers go up a level we've never seen in this championship. From the off, Shanahan knows he's got to be absolutely on it. And the thing is, he can't hesitate. No. The minute he hesitates, Rintanen's gone. So he stays with him through the first corner. Up to this point, I'm going to say I agree. Shanahan's on it. This is perfect. Lead run's really good from Rintanen. He pulls a little bit of a gap here. Shanahan has to jump across the curb to stay in the fight. Now, this is where it gets a little unstuck as they come through this section. Rintanen goes to the edge of the circuit. Shanahan makes a big dive, has to brake a little bit here and back off Rintanen. Now, just watch Rintanen in the lead position as he transitions back for this. Does he make an error here? As it transitions back, he gets a little bit unstuck and he has a little wobble just getting up to that outer zone, allowing Shanahan back into it. It's not enough, but when you're down to the wire like this, these little errors can count. So Shanahan has a little error when he chases in on outer zone 5, and then Rintanen has a little wobble into outer zone 6. Again, the judges are going to be like, give us a break, guys. This is incredible. We can't decide. It's about the sport, not just the result, but the result is all that matters to Rintanen and Shanahan. Who's going through to the final 4? It's a one more time and a split decision, and it's going to be a one more time. Oh, I don't know. Can we take much more? We now move back to the one more time. We haven't decided this one because it's a huge battle for the championship. It's a one more time between Conor Shanahan and Juha Rintanen. No separating them the first time out. I am not sure if anybody's got any more energy for this, but we've got to pull through because it keeps coming. The adrenaline in this event is almost exhausting because everybody is on it, and these two guys have been on it from the start. Rintanen punches the steering wheel and says, we're going back at it again. They're going to go closer, they're going to go harder, they're going to go on the walls more. Conor Shanahan, Rintanen, here we go.
Look at this through the gears. They've felt each other out. They know the car setups, they know the grip levels, and they fire in. Shanahan's dialed this car up. He wants more grip, he wants more power. Look at this though, Rintanen closer in the zone, on the wall he goes. Give Shanahan the room to manoeuvre. They fire through, and Shanahan absolutely bails away. He now drives away from Rintanen as Rintanen shortcuts the circuit to try and gain back lost ground. Rintanen now on the ropes against Shanahan on the wall.
I don't know what Conor Shanahan's done to that car between battle 1 and 2, but he's put a lot of grip in it. There's a lot more speed in Conor's.
That must be uncomfortable.
That is a lot of grip in that car, and it might not have paid off, but it looks like it did. Rintanen has a fast car. We talked about it on the first half. He hasn't really struggled to stay with anybody. He couldn't catch Conor Shanahan there right after outer zone 1. Now what I do love is Rintanen chasing Shanahan into outer zone 2 and staying just as wide. Look at this. Both cars buried in the wall. But as they come through this transition, look, Shanahan, a little clever, off the throttle, and away we go, and Rintanen can't catch him here.
No, he can't catch him. He's up and gone, Dave, at this point, and you can see Rintanen really shortcutting the circuit, really having to think about every move he makes, and he goes for a dive, and he tags him, and has to back out of it and then get back onto it again. Rintanen really now on the ropes, Dave, I'd say.
I was just about to comment that Conor Shanahan has been hit in every single battle.
Every battle,
and the car's still in one piece. Incredible. Juha Rintanen now in the lead position. We saw Conor Shanahan struggle a little bit to stay with Juha Rintanen, but I think he's got that car turned up to 11 now. This is going to be interesting to see if Shanahan has the pace this time around, or will Rintanen come through and win this event like he did the last one. Shanahan dives in the chase position. Rintanen super wide to the wall. Look at that lead line from Juha Rintanen as he goes out to the edge of the circuit. Shanahan staying with him. Early transition. Shanahan almost smashes the back end off Rintanen's car, but they're both in this as they come towards the end. Shanahan struggling a little bit for pace, but as they go up to the wall, here we go. Rintanen to the wall. Shanahan up onto the door. That is top tier, world class drifting. No matter where you go in the world, that's what you want to watch, and they are blowing the roof off this place.
I have no words, Dave. I have no words.
Well, you're paid for a few, Ian, so you have to find some.
Right, let me dig deep for these ones then. I mean, where do you go from that? And you know what? I don't like to pick sides. I don't like to make assumptions. But that chase run from Shanahan sealed the deal for me in that battle.
It's the transition here. Watch this from Conor Shanahan.
On the door,
look at the back of Rintanen's car.
Oh, look at this. No one else has done that. No one else has been there through that part of the circuit. No one else has made a move like that, Dave.
And that's what kept him closer than Rintanen. I think there's no major errors from either driver, but the little risky move from Shanahan in the middle, which could have gone absolutely wrong for him. He's done something no one else has done. He's found an area to get an advantage, and it might just be enough. We'll see which way the judges go as a Final Four competitor needs to be decided. I've got to say, that is just unbelievable driving from both of these guys. We've waited a long time this season to see real close door-on-door action because a lot of guys getting used to new setups. Well, we're seeing it in spades, and who's going to go through to the Final Four? It's Conor Shanahan. Conor Shanahan gets the win, goes through to the Final Four. We started with 57 drivers. We are down to our Final Four. It will be Conor Shanahan who's taken out Kalle Rovanperä. He's taken out Juha Rintanen. Well, now he has to go up against Erik Gottschall, who's been doing some damage himself on the other side of the bracket, and he's very, very fast. Erik Gottschall, you may not know his name right now, but I can guarantee in about 5 minutes' time, you'll never forget it, because this guy is ready to take this championship by storm. But he's got to go through one of the championship contenders in Conor Shanahan. Shanahan's done the thing. He's come in. He's beaten the big stars. He's made a name for himself. Erik Gottschall wants to do exactly the same. Well, sitting beside him on the line is one of those guys that if you beat him, everyone's talking about you tomorrow. Gottschall will know what's on the line here, and he's pumped up and ready to go. It's the first semi-final of round 3 of the Drift Masters European Championship. They're slotted into gear. They're ready to put on a show. Here we go.
Yeah, they're through the start line, and here we go, through the gears they go, down. Shanahan flicks that car, but look at Erik Gottschall, he knows he can't let him get away, goes for a little cheeky dive up the inside, but it doesn't really pay off. He has to jump on the foot brake, but now he applies the pressure. The Polish driver looks down, through he goes, and wavers and wanders and looks for the side of Shanahan's GT86 as he makes another dive on outside zone 5. Looks for him once again on the foot brake as Shanahan balances that car in that final outside zone, but Gottschall is right there.
Whoa, and he smashes him over the finish line. This is an incredible event. This track, this atmosphere, everything about it has just been the most memorable Drift Masters event I can think of in a very long time. We've had huge upsets, we've had crazy wins, we've had crashes galore in qualifying, we've had thunderstorms, we've had lightning, and now we have two of the best youngsters on the grid going door to door, and I mean that literally. Around that track, smashing each other around the track. Gottschall here has a couple of wobbles in the center section of the track, and Shanahan looks like he's on rails, but look at this dive from Gottschall as he comes down the hill, and look at these transitions as they come into the final corner. Watch how close, into the door he goes, tags the door
and runs the wall.
And as they go over the finish line, Gottschall doesn't even come off the throttle, he just pushes Shanahan back to the start line. This is what it's all about.
That's insane. That camera view of the door on door, tagging the wall. Oh,
look at the tire marks on each door of each car.
Look, he's like, yeah.
He is loving this. Eric Gottschall, all smiles to the camera. We are not finished by any means in imagination here as Conor Shanahan says, oh, is that what you got? Oh, you want to do a little door-on-door push-in? Wait till you see this. That's what is in Conor Shanahan's mind right now. Conor Shanahan wants that finally. He hasn't had the best start to the season. He's had a sketchy, round 1 and round 2. But right now he's saying, oh, you want to play those games? Well, I've been here a lot longer than you, buddy. Look at the tire marks on the wheel of Conor Shanahan's.
Look at that. The vinyl wrap is in the tyre spoke of Conor Shanahan's car.
Wow, so
that's how close Gottschall was.
Gottschall taking, there was some livery on Shanahan's car. Here we go. It's going to be the second half of this battle. Marcin is ready to send him, and this is going to be a crazy conclusion to one of the best battles we've seen today. Gottschall in the lead, Shanahan in the final. It's all up to this.
Yeah, this is for a spot in the final awaits. Oh, wow, what an initiation from Eric Gottschall. And he's up on the wall. Oh, but he makes a mistake and he debeads a tyre.
He went in the wall. He went in the wall. He hit the wall hard. Suspension damage for Eric Gottschall. He went in so fast he couldn't stop it. And look at the back end of that car. He has destroyed it. Shannon's like, see you later, buddy. Better luck next time as he heads to the final. And it looks to me like Eric Gottschall smashed into the wall. You know what?
I think he done both rear wheels. There is some serious damage to the car because the car won't even drive in a straight line. That is serious damage. Yeah, he backed that car in.
He went for it. He went for the big move. He went for that. Yeah, well, Shanahan was too consistent. He had to go for it, but he absolutely fired the car in. A little bit of curb there, probably sped the car up a little bit more as well. But as he comes through here, we get clouded in the smoke. Boom, he goes into the wall. We'll see it from the other angle here. It's a lot more severe. And as he comes in front of the grandstand, he goes on big angle. He's not slowing that car down enough. And as they get to here, look, bang, into the wall. And then Shanahan hits the other side of the car. So he gets sandwiched between the wall and Shanahan. And Shannon's like, there's none of my car left now at this stage. He's hit every single panel. And that's why both sides of the car absolutely destroyed. And we haven't seen him since top 32, but the recovery man's like, wow. I knew it wasn't time to clock off just yet.
He was ready to go home, and he was like, no, a few more battles to go. So that is how that played out. Look at the dent on the door of Shanahan's car where they've just been going wheel to wheel constantly.
So you know when people say you drive the wheels off the car?
Literally.
Eric Gottschall has no wheels left on the car, on the back of the car. And he's over the moon. He's still cheering.
He's still happy.
He's still happy. And it looks to me like Eric Gottschall. And remember, this is the final four. So if he can get that car fixed, he's still got a shot at coming back. He's still got another battle to go. So, I mean, don't be relaxing right now, Eric Gottschall's team, because you might have more work to do. And the whole back end of the car is destroyed. I'm not sure if they'll have the time to fix it, but it is going to be official. Conor Shanahan goes through to the final. Conor Shanahan gets the win. Conor Shanahan versus Jack Shanahan. The script is written, but the last sentence hasn't been. Who will win? This is incredible. What a sport. What a venue. What an amazing audience we've had all weekend. And now, brother v brother in the final. The few last gulps of air before he closes the door for Jack Shanahan. Conor Shanahan, the higher qualifier, first place qualifier, will lead them in. Marcin gives the word. The lights will go green. And here we are, brother versus brother for top step on the podium.
Through the gears they go. Shanahan versus Shanahan. Wow, and no messing around. Jack almost makes contact with Conor on the initiation. They're both up and into the wall. And Jack is all over the side of his brother's GT86, on the curb, on the door, on the wall. Does it make sense? They're not going to let it make sense as they fire through. Separation as Jack gives Conor the room to manoeuvre now. As Jack once again looks for a side of his brother's car and he batters him across the line.
Wow, unbelievable driving from both the Shanahans. There was at least 4 or 5 door hits in that run, and Jack Shanahan taking no prisoners as he goes to the door and pushes it in on Conor Shanahan across the line. It was a very tricky entry. Jack Shanahan was super close there, Ian.
Yeah, he almost made contact. It looked like he did make contact. The car kind of jumped up and down a little bit, but then look at this in this outside zone. You can barely squeeze the drone between these two guys. As he's on the handbrake, looks across, he says, I know the sight of that car alongside me. But this is phenomenal. Watch this as they transition, almost takes the back end off of the car. They go to the wall, and Jack says, I'm going to push him as hard and as fast as I can and see if we can really bang doors this weekend. But for me, it was the final outside zone where Jack literally planted his car on Conor's.
I mean, he's probably turned around and said, there you go, little brother. What you got?
What you got?
I started this game. You only followed me in. And that's, I mean, reminding him.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people out there needed a little reminding of how good Jack Shanahan was. This is where he went, look at that. Smashes into the door, pushes him across the line, and Conor Shanahan says, all right, okay, I get it. And then Jack says, I think you're going to have to push a little harder here, Conor. You're not going to have a walk over here. And then we've got potentially one more run. The Shanahan team are like, please just let it be one more run. I don't know if we can go back and do a load more work to get these back out again. It's going to be Conor Shanahan in the chase position. Can he get as close as Jack was in his chase position? Last run of the event, potentially. And it's been one of those where we never know what's going to happen or who's going to take the win. Last run, Jack Shanahan in the lead, Conor Shanahan in the chase. Mono on mono, brother on brother, GT86 versus GT86.
Wow, look at Conor. He's not giving him an inch. He's not letting him move. He's going to barely let him breathe as he transitions through that inner zone. Down they come, and now Jack squeezes the accelerator, tries to separate him, but he can't. And Conor almost takes him out on the transition. He looks for the transition back, and Conor's closer than he was before. And now look at this as Conor repays the favour.
That's unbelievable driving. Unbelievable driving. So here we go. Who's going to take the win? Will it be Jack Shanahan? Will it be Conor Shanahan? Conor Shanahan gets the win at round 3 of the Drift Masters European Championship. Ian, he's taken the win. Yeah, another huge battle for the championship. Conor Shanahan sits on the start line, and Conor Shanahan right now has watched all of his competitors that he is fighting it out with for the championship absolutely fall apart. And the only man looking really comfortable at the moment is Lauri Heinonen and James Dean. And Conor Shanahan now, he's an expert in the rain, but is there such a thing as an expert on this track? Because he could spin this on outer zone 4 and throw his entire championship away. Because Alex Solovnia, a very, very experienced driver from Kiev in Ukraine, and he's been driving in the USA this year. He's got lots of laps under his belt and a very fast car, very capable driver. This is a big challenge for Conor Shanahan here.
Well, here we go, about to find out, can Conor Shanahan keep with the conditions, and is that car working? We saw him have problems, no issues so far it seems, but look at this as Latvia throws it in behind, but throws it away, trying to keep close to Conor Shanahan. Shanahan now looking nice and comfortable. How can he fare when he comes by the grandstand at outer zone 4? No issues for Conor Shanahan, and expert in the way.
Super clever driving. He hit the front brakes there, and they just let the car settle before it went through that. He's been watching. A lot of these drivers will have their phones in the car, watching the previous runs, just like you guys are at home, and they'll say, well, I'm not going to make that mistake. Alex Solovnia makes contact with Conor Shanahan and makes a huge error. Looks to me like that will be an incomplete for Alex Solovnia. Music to the Shanahan's ears at the moment, but again, just like the run before it, when you think Dwayne McKeever is going through with no question, he can't even make a lap. So there's no way you're going to get through to the top 16 here until it's right till the last zone and you come across that finish line.
Certainly. So Conor Shanahan, as we see, putting on that really nice lead line, looking very comfortable out there. Huge sigh of relief. As you can see, Halavnia just not being able to manage the conditions.
Yeah, just kamikaze through the first corner, hit Shanahan, then went off the track, took a cone for a little bit of a spin.
Well, look, he's leaving the line, Dave, knowing that he's got to go close, got to go hard. Shanahan's going to give him that good line to follow.
Yeah, he absolutely just lost it all. I mean, understeer.
Just at the end of the zone as well, so unfortunate for him.
Yeah, leaves the cone in the middle of the track. Kevin O'Connell saying that is not a new clipping point that he has created in the middle of the track. That is not regulation. You're not allowed to do it. And Alex Solovnia, well, you can see hands in the air there. He knows he's made the error and made the mistake. How low is that car, by the way, that BMW? It's absolutely on the floor. It looks so cool. Full carbon Kevlar, and it's a good thing it is carbon Kevlar because it was picking up a couple of hits there, as Conor Shannon's car has been hit by every driver on the grid at this stage in round 4, but he's still in the run and he's getting that little run back. I think for Conor Shanahan right now, the rain's starting to fall a little heavier here. This is the time where if you want to win the championship, you've got to be clever. You can't overcommit. His team have been on the radio saying, you've got an incomplete, Conor, just get the job done. Easier said than done.
well if there is a sensible driver. And on this grid, it is Conor Shanahan. He knows when to attack and when to hold back. You can see just not pushing himself to the outer lines, allowing Halavnia just, you know, make the mistakes in front of him. But Halavnia now doing a good job. But Shanahan, all he needs to do is just stay within touching distance, just keep himself in this one, and he should have a spot in the top 16. Halavnia, though, you can see just how treacherous as he battles, trying to find the grip, makes that transition. It just looks so sketchy, but finds the wall now a little bit late through that final section. But look where it is for Conor Shanahan, right on the door, as he just applies the pressure right at the right moment.
You know what? The big story for me so far, and I'm going to assume Conor Shanahan is going to take this one through to the top 16. The big story for me is Heinonen and Shanahan now. Both of them have had terrible conditions, very unusual surface patches here on the track, and if they want that championship, these are the moments that you've got to overcome to be the best in the business. And both of them, to me, look like they've done that better than anyone who's in the championship hunt. Of course, James Dean is in there looking great as usual, but he's not in that championship fight. He's just a wild card this weekend. But Lauri Heinonen and Conor Shanahan looking like they ain't going to fall down here. They're not going to make big errors or big mistakes. And Conor Shanahan, to me, look at that. He's just sitting on the handbrake going, I am not overcommitting to any part of this circuit. Halavnia was on a flyer there, to be fair, up onto the curbs. He does good, but it's too little too late with that big understeer and off the track on the first half of the battle. And the championship fight between Heinonen and Conor Shanahan still wide open as we head to this top 16, because I'm going to assume that smile on the face of Conor Shanahan and that little fist pump, because he knows I got through it, I won it, and I'm in the top 16, and Conor Shanahan ready to rock and roll later today. I'm saying I wonder if it's slippery or dry. Well, I think it's getting worse now, because what we have is almost a dry track with just some patches of areas that are really wet, and that is going to not be good news for Conor Shanahan, who now sits top of the championship table. He needs to win in this battle against Juha Rintanen, because Lauri Heinonen and Dwayne McKeever are all climbing points on Conor Shanahan right now. This is big pressure on young shoulders, and Juha, with the experience here, sitting that menacing 2 car lengths back at the start line, knowing he wants to get a run in, and he's looking a lot more confident here than he was in the 32. He's going to be attacking Conor Shanahan from the off. The Finnish driver wants a big trophy in European drifting. He hasn't had one in a while, and Conor Shanahan wants to continue his run of form. Here we go.
Yeah, for Point Lasco, now's your opportunity. You take down Conor Shanahan here in the top 16, and you're the big name. You're the guy to beat here this weekend. But Conor Shanahan opened up a huge gap here so far early on in this first run here. But Point Lasco now, as he tries to reel him back in and close that gap. But Shanahan on a really nice line here. Point Lasco getting stuck in the inside line, midline through that section as he comes up onto the curb, and Shanahan now starts to tidy it up. But just as he does, Dave, you can see that car shooting forward as it grabs a bit of grip, hits the wall, and unsettles the run as well. As you can just see how treacherous it is. Exactly what Dwayne McKeever was talking about.
Yeah, it's not pretty out there, and there's no way of driving it pretty because you can't predict it. You can see Conor Shanahan, he made a move that I'm not sure the judges will be 100% happy with. Was he handbraked into the most difficult part of the track, just decided not to even deal with it and just handbrake through it, hoping that Juha would make a bigger mistake behind him. But Juha kind of stayed in the fight. He didn't have much proximity, but again, not the perfect lead run, not the perfect chase run. Shanahan making errors. You see this on the entry. He handbrakes a couple of times to try and stay wide, Shanahan, but he just can't. Juha's on the inside of the track, which is exactly where he doesn't want to be. And as they transition back here, watch this as they go to the outside zone. Juha pulls in, but Shanahan has a little wobble there, straightens, and then this, watch the back wheels of Shanahan's car. He handbrakes right through that, causing Juha to dive up in a very unusual fashion, and the judges will say that's a full, throttled part of the track, and he takes that a little bit safer. And then watch, he expects the car to float out here, Shanahan. It doesn't, it grips, and then you get all this slippiness, and he hits the wall. So that lead run, not perfect from Conor Shanahan, and Juha making some mistakes in the chase position, but I think he hadn't the best of lead runs to follow there.
Yeah, inclined to agree with you, Dave. A lot of errors on both ends, but some of those errors in the chase position perhaps caused by Conor Shanahan. Certainly not the early ones, maybe, though, in that first initiation zone.
Certainly on initiation it was Juha's mistake, and again the judges are going to look at all this and say there was mistakes both sides there. There was nothing super clean about it, but just from that lead position, Conor Shanahan will have work to do here, and I don't think he'll go into this thinking he has it in the bag, which means he's got to go chase Juha Rintanen. He's got to go in there as hard and fast as he can, and he's got to put in a good run. One thing Juha didn't have was a lot of proximity. That's where Conor Shanahan can make up the difference here, and Juha, he's fast around here, he's very solid, and Juha cannot afford any mistakes. It is so knife edge here in the top 16 in round 4 of the Drift Masters European Championship, and the championship very much on the line as Conor Shanahan, who currently leads it, is now sitting with maybe a deficit from the first half of his top 16 battle. He has to turn it up here.
Yeah, well, Lauri Heinonen really applying the pressure onto Conor Shanahan. Every time he makes a move, he's moving himself into the next round of stage of competition, and Conor Shanahan then has to follow that to try and maintain his gap in the championship. That 12-point lead, ever so slight at this stage of competition now. Poitilasco leaves the line. Can he find that perfect lead run that would secure him a spot in the Great Eight? Well, we are about to find out here as he shallows up once again. They're just not able to keep on that wide line. Shanahan now tucks in as he tries to find the proximity and keep himself in the fight. Forced mistake from the Finnish driver, but Poitilasco now just again not able to find a perfect line to give Conor Shanahan that opportunity to chase a perfect lead run, as Poitilasco gets caught up with the wall as well, Dave, and it's a game of bumper cars out there. Just so tricky right now for these guys.
I think Poitilasco was going to spin, and then Conor Shanahan got him going again. You know, he was almost over-rotating. I mean, whatever about Conor Shanahan's poor lead run, I think Juha's was almost poorer. I think he gave Conor nothing to work with there. That first corner, he was super shallow, and that wall run at the end was probably the biggest mistake over the 2 runs. Watch this. Juha goes in expecting the car to wash in the rain. It doesn't, and now he's right on the inside of the track, almost flirting with that inside white line, which is the wrong line as he comes through there. As they transition back, Conor Shanahan had great proximity, to be fair to him, through this section of the course. Juha deciding also not to go anywhere near the outside of the track there, just kind of staying off that outer zone. As he comes up a little bit shallow here, just barely touching a wheel into that zone. And as they transition back, I think it's this last wall run for me. Juha goes very deep into that wall. And as it comes through here, Conor trying to adapt in the chase position. Juha gets onto the slippery white line. And watch this, the back end of the car almost goes. This looks like it's going to be an over-rotation. Hits the wall, hits Shanahan, and sort of sends him back going again. But it's a lot of hits with the wall, heavy hits too, as they bumper cars, like you said, Eddie, across the line. Not much left to the back end of these cars.
No, certainly not. And you know, when you try and compare this lead to lead, chase to chase, I mean, neither driver giving the chase driver much to work with here. So
no, let's see which way the judges go. Yeah, it's going to be Conor Shanahan getting the win, and I don't think he would have been overly confident about that going his way. And of course, we'll take a little rest now because we've only got a battle between 2 brothers, Conor and Jack Shanahan, which was the final from Finland. This event just keeps giving us heavyweight after heavyweight battle, and Conor and Jack currently sitting 1st and 3rd in the championship. Well, they go head to head here in the top 8, and whoever loses is going to lose a lot of ground in the championship. This is the time Jack Shanahan can get back into the mix. He can catch up on his brother. He's driving very, very well. And right now, looking at the current form of this particular event, I could not pick a winner here.
Yeah, Jack Shanahan, if he takes down his brother Conor here, could see himself going top of the championship, with Lauri Heinonen, the 2nd place championship contender, bowing out of competition. We are ready to go here. Here comes Conor Shanahan in the lead position in the repeat of the final of round 3. Here we go, Shanahan to lead in. Shanahan, GT86 versus GT86. Conor Shanahan, perfect so far, but look where Jack is, tucked in perfectly door to door. 2 brothers in unison as they come by the grandstand. No problems from either driver so far. Perfect from Conor, perfect from Jack as they look to fulfill that final outer zone. Conor Shanahan, Jack on the door as they cross the line, Dave. A perfect run from the Shanahan brothers.
That is just ridiculous. I need to see this on the replay. I think there was a huge thump from Jack Shanahan into the door of Conor Shanahan as they went to outer zone 4. I'm not sure, but it looked like something got unsettled. We'll see it here in the replay. This is just ridiculous. Jack Shanahan enters so early on the door of Conor Shanahan. Of course, both of these guys running the same setup, same tires, same everything, so it's driver v driver. And as they come through this, look at this, Conor Shanahan perfect to the outside zone. Now just watch Jack Shanahan here. Does he make contact with his brother? As they come through here, it looked to me that there was a little bit of a thump, but no, I think they get away with it. We'll see it from this angle. Lock up from Conor. Yeah, look at that big bump into the door from Jack Shanahan. But they stay in it, and as they transition, it's as if nothing ever happened. They go through the next section. I think that is one of the most incredible showings of proximity on the Riga circuit. And of course, Jack and Conor, you know, these are best friends, brothers behind the scenes, but when they put those helmets on, it's business time. And look at this, Jack Shanahan was all over Conor Shanahan as they went around that last corner. Highlight reel stuff once again from the Shanahans, this time not in the final, but for a spot in the top 4. And right now, Conor Shanahan being asked the question, oh, you're leading the championship, are you? Well, now you're in trouble, because that was a phenomenal chase run from Jack Shanahan, and Conor's got to go to an uncomfortable level of speed and proximity here to stay in the battle. Jack is tired of 2nd place this year, and he has done all he can in the chase. Now it's up to Conor to prove his worth and prove why he's top of the standings.
Well, Jack Shanahan ups his game, but Conor now looking to repeat just what Jack did as he tries to give a little bit back to the older brother here. As Shanahan once again. Jack, a perfect line through the first few sections, goes deep into that outer zone, and now Conor getting a little bit wide, and Conor goes off the circuit, Dave. The championship leader is off the circuit.
He got lost in the smoke, Eddie. He got completely lost in the smoke. He went wide where Jack did. He got caught. The angle Jack Shanahan put in on outer zone 4, you can see the rage inside the cockpit for Conor Shanahan as he can't believe that's happened. I'll tell you, it was Jack Shanahan. He did it on purpose. On outer zone 4, he dialed in a gangster amount of lock, blew up all the back tyres, and it went straight into Conor's windscreen. And when Conor came out, he didn't know where he was, straight off the track. And that is phenomenal, next level driving from Jack Shanahan. But Conor Shanahan, well, he's going to be furious with that. Not the way he wanted to exit the competition, but if he's going to lose to anyone, it's going to be to his own brother. And that was phenomenal on-track action from the Shanahans. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. You can see how visibly furious Conor Shanahan is there, though. You know, huge championship implications. When we watch this one back, Dave, and we take a look at the replay footage here.
Now watch this. Look at Jack's angle here as he goes to outer zone 4. Dials in the angle. Look at the smoke cloud coming up on Conor's. Conor goes too wide. Yeah, he's unable to transition in time. I think Jack just went so fast through that outer zone 4 that Conor didn't expect the transition to come so soon. Look, watch as he transitions. He goes, uh-oh, I'm way too wide here. And he's got to bail off on the exit road to avoid damage in the car. Oh, knife edge stuff, Eddie, and it's what we expect to see when we see the heavyweights of European drifting go head to head. We saw Lauri and Dwayne leave it all on the track. We see the Shanahans leave it all on the track. But who's going to the final 4? I think we know the answer. It's Jack Shanahan going to the final 4, and the championship blown wide open again as Conor Shanahan, your championship leader, goes out of competition. This is big, though. This is big for the championship now. Conor Shanahan, second position in the championship, hits the wall at the end of qualifying yesterday, going up against a very, very on-form Alexander Kosahov. Now all these battles, the championship on the line. Shanahan cannot afford to lose this battle and stay in the fight. Kosahov doesn't care about championship fights. He doesn't care about Conor Shanahan. He's just going to try and win this battle, and he could be the fly in the ointment here because he has been on it all weekend. Kosahov qualifying in 26, but he's still up in the 90s. And here we go off to like Kosahov, very aggressive on Conor Shanahan, but he makes a little error in the chase position. Shanahan goes up to the wall. Kosahov surging forward. Shanahan using the left foot brake to try and extend the arc of the car out towards the wall. Now Kosahov making another dive up onto the door, very close from Alexander Kosahov, and now he's in the pocket. Now he's putting pressure on the would-be champion as they come around that last corner. Shanahan's not getting this one easy as Alexander Kosahov pushes him across the finish.
Wow. Kosahov, no pushover by any means, and everyone spoke about him yesterday. You know, I want to see the replay of the initiation from Shanahan because, Dave, I don't think it was as nice as what we first thought it maybe was because he was very shallow on those first outside zones. Goes to it, look at that wheel just along the white line. I don't think he was as deep onto the wall as what he hoped the car would be. And Shanahan said to me, it's very hard today in these conditions to drive these cars. And there, you can see it, he was just in the outside zone. He's shallow then for the rest of the outside zone 2. Kind of gets it back on that qualifying line, and as soon as that opens up, that pocket opens up, Kosahov makes the dive, and then he's there, and then there is no getting rid of him.
Well, you know what, the funny thing is, we talked in the pre-show, and I mean, look, you're looking at rankings here and expectations, that Conor Shanahan and Jack Shanahan would meet in the top 16 if they won both of their battles, but we never talked about what if they didn't win both of their battles, because Alexander Kosahov's going, he put his hand up and went, excuse me.
I'm still here.
I'm still here, and I don't care about the Shanahans or the championship. I'm here to put on a show, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, and he did. Look, he's not going to go down without a fight. Look, if you're Alexander Kosahov right now and you're sitting on the line against Conor Shanahan, who's second in the championship, and you take him down, that's still a statement.
Huge statement. And now everyone's talking about you. So Shanahan's got to be close. He's got to be perfect. And with Alexander Kosahov's proximity on the first half of this battle, Shanahan has to go for broke, as if this is the final.
Well, look, Kosahov now needs to lay down a perfect lead line. He needs to put it right where the judges want it to try and get the favour swinging his way. And look at this, Shanahan knows he's quick. He knows that Kosahov's not going to mess around. Look at the initiation from Kosahov. He's right there, he's onto the wall. Shanahan, no proximity at the moment, leaves him the room to manoeuvre. Now, will he make the big dive onto 4? As he does, and he goes wheel to wheel, and he kind of upsets the line of Kosahov there into the outside zone. They transition back. Kosahov's on an absolute flyer. Shanahan has to shortcut the circuit to make the dive onto the door. He's there across the line.
Yeah, it's good recovery from Conor Shanahan. There is an error from Kosov. He almost over-rotates it into outer zone 4. There was too much of a snap on the transition. And I'll tell you one thing, from my perspective, this is going to be a close call between the judges because Shanahan does make an error in his lead, but it's okay. Kosov makes an error in his chase, but it's okay. This is going to be a close one. Kosov doing a great job. Some of those wall runs from him were phenomenal, but Conor Shanahan gets that proximity towards the second half of the course, and Kosov does have the bigger error of the two drivers over the two runs. I don't know.
I'm going to put it all out there, Dave, and say that I think that Kosov's lead was nicer.
It may have been, but think about the error into outer zone 4. You're thinking about wall runs here, Ian. You're getting all emotionally involved again. Look at this. This is gangster on the wall. Look, Kosov, better on outer zone 1, better on 2. Right, so we're going to guarantee you that. And very good on 3. But as he goes to 4, he snaps the car. Look, watch, snaps it, almost over-rotates it, and has to bury it on the throttle, gets to it late, and falls out of the zone completely and gets back in again. Shanahan have to make some moves. I'm just saying, there's moments here for both. Shanahan, to me, does make the error in his lead. Outer zone 1, not as nice as Kosov's.
I mean, they both had proximity. Split it down the middle then, Dave. There's only one way it can go.
Yeah, a little thump from Conor Shanahan on that Kosov there.
I mean,
as Kosov's rear spoiler. I don't know what it's made of, but it's somehow still on the car. Can't believe it. We're going to see who's going to go through to the 16. And it's going to be a one more time. Conor Shanahan looked delighted by it. It surprises me, but I think he knew it was messy. Kosov knew it was messy. We're going to go back at it again.
Oh, we have a one more time battle left to go before we completely fill out our top 32, and it will be Conor Shanahan to take on the Ukrainian Alexander Kosov.
Well, this is the big one to finish the top 32 is can Conor Shanahan get himself into the top 16? If he can't, both Shanahans will go out in the top 32, and 1 and 2 in the championship will not be in the top 16 of round 5. Alexander, I think, he's smelled the blood in the water here. He knows if he goes one more time with the man second in the championship, he's able to beat him. Watch out for Kosov here. He's coming for it. I think he knows that Shanahan's beatable. Shanahan has to get the job done. They are off the line and ready to go. This is a big battle for the championship.
It certainly is. Look at this from Kosov, already making the attack, trying to get up onto the side of that Toyota GT86 and gives him the room to manoeuvre, lets him set himself up on that qualifying line. And now look at Kosov, goes for it, but it's an early transition. He's going to misplace the car, and he's going to have to work to get the back end into the outside zone, but he certainly gets there, and he gets the front end of that Nissan 200SX into the groove. Up to the door he goes. Kosov is not going to go down without a fight this weekend.
It's impressive. It's impressive to see Alexander Kosov push one of the, I suppose, biggest names in the sport right now, right to the wire here in the top 32. This doesn't happen in every championship. You don't see big championship contenders get this level of a fight. You might see them make an error, you might see a mechanical failure, but Kosov is coming for it here. Look at this initiation.
Well, he kind of copied what Korpolinski did. He said, well, you know, you can get down on the inside there on initiation and ride it out all the way down the hill, and you can see that. Look at Kosov, he's on the brake for a long time. Shanahan stalls the car up quite a bit there on the foot brake. You see the front end kind of nose down, that front wheel locked, and for me, really, that just gave Kosov more of an opportunity to gain proximity. Look at that on transition, almost contact. Kosov, though, was a little bit too early with the angle, and he really had to work. Look at this, he shallows up the car massively to get into outside zone 4. But once he's there, Dave. There's no getting rid of him.
That might be a little error from Kosov there, and to me also, Shannon's lead run is very good. He's out to all the edge of the track. So, you know, we're always rooting for the underdog, but you've got to give respect where it's due. And Conor Shanahan does complete every single outer zone of the track without error, okay? So he's giving Kosov all of the tools he needs to get close, and he does. But that outer zone 4 transition for me, you're right. He over-rotates, goes a little too early, and he's having that trouble at lead and chase. Kosov's got to put in a phenomenal lead run here. If he wants to be in the argument, he cannot afford to miss any zones. And Shanahan, well, if he wants to be the champion, if he wants this to be his year, he has to put tire marks on the door.
He certainly does. Well, we know that, well, in my eyes, Kosov's lead on the first battle was better. Can he replicate that? Can Conor Shanahan now lay it down? Can he stick it to the door? Kosov with an absolute flyer down into that first outside zone, sticks it to the wall, flexes the back end once again up in the air, but that affects the line of the car and upsets where he is, and that opens the door, and that allows Shanahan to get closer than he was before. Now he has the proximity. They transitioned for the final corner as Shanahan looks for the door at this time 206, and he's glued to it across the line.
You know what, it was just down to that one mistake. Outer zone 2.
Yeah.
That was the mistake. Kosov went in too fast, too heavy, hits the wall, misses outer zone 3. I said it before the battle. You cannot afford to miss a zone on this track. Not today, not with this level of competition. And to me, Kosov does that. He hits the wall, he misses outer zone 3, and it's almost his own mistake. It wasn't even Shanahan's doing at that point. Kosov makes his own error, and that's the way I'm seeing it. Again, it's not going to be made official until the judges discuss it, but from my years of experience, which are generally count for very little in my decision making, it looked to me like Kosov goes shallow into outer zone 1, goes in too fast, dials on the angle, hits outer zone 2 on the wall, bang, that's a big hit, and then has to miss line again through here and misses outer zone 3. So Shanahan is basically chasing a car not on the correct line, but he still gets the proximity. So he's double compounding the scores, if you get me. So not only is he chasing a poorer lead run, he's also getting more proximity, so he's getting more reward from the judges. In my opinion, I don't know what way they've gone with this one, but that's the way it looks to me. Another little touch as he go across the finish line there. Everybody pushing hard. And as Conor Shanahan got this one done on the second time around, he's just like, they look like they're having fun. Either way, they look like they're having fun out on track. It's the last decision of our top 32, and it's Conor Shanahan getting the win. You can see what it means to him. He's still very much in the fight. Alexander Kosov, you can see Shanahan saying great job to his opponent, because that was tougher. From Israel, and he said, as I spoke to him in the top 16, I'll tell you what's better than beating a Shanahan, beating 2.
Beating 2.
And he could beat 2 if he beats Conor Shanahan. Conor Shanahan's brother, Jack Shanahan, the championship leader, eliminated by Itay Sada in the top 32. The 16-year-old, or 17-year-old now, is the man to watch tonight. Conor Shanahan having some trouble, some mechanical gremlins in the top 32. Got the job done, though, against Alexander Kosov, but now it tasted that. It's going to feel like if he can take down Jack, why can't he take down Conor? And this is going to be very interesting for the Shanahans. If both of them get eliminated by the one kid in the one night, this championship's blown wide open. Conor Shanahan needs the points here for the championship as they roll into the first corner. Shanahan in the lead.
Yeah, look at this already, though. Itay Sada on the inside makes a brave dive, but he's now put himself on the inside edge of the circuit. Means he's shortcutting it massively, and the judges won't like that. Conor goes wide. Itay Sada goes for a dive in the outside zone, but he's way on the inside again. He can't hang with Shanahan as Conor Shanahan applies the pressure. Big flick across the circuit from Conor Shanahan as Itay Sada has no answer for the pace of the other Shanahan across the line.
Yeah, you know, a lot of guys and girls will be watching this and saying, hey, but he's really close. Well, it's how he got there that the judges are going to watch, and that's where the technicality of the sport comes in. He is close in certain areas, but he's cutting the track. And what we mean by cutting the track, what I like about, say, this particular way of judging is that Itay, look at this, he goes on the inside. So he's making the track smaller. Yeah. Therefore, he's taking, you know, it's an easier way of doing things. He is overtaking Shanahan on the first corner. He's supposed to be mimicking the lead car by being, you know, on the quarter panel, on the door. But he's on the front wheel. He's actually overtaking. That's a big mistake.
The good thing with this track is, though, Dave, if you're in the right place as a chase driver, you should be running that qualifying line almost, because you can position the car to run the walls and run those outside zones. And Itay Sada didn't prove that. He placed the car on the inside, shortcutting the track, as you say, gaining that ground easily, cheating basically his way around the track in a chase position.
Which is incredible to watch. And, you know, you've obviously got a change of circumstance here with the grip levels going down, the temperatures coming down. But it looks like Conor Shanahan had, in my opinion, a sketchy top 32.
Yeah.
Looks more comfortable now in the top 16, and it's switched around where Itay was all on it in the top 32, but now he's making errors. So maybe this switch from light to dark, from hot to cold, has made a big difference to the way these guys are driving the car.
You say cold. You mean like 6 degrees cooler than it was?
Yeah, it's
at
still
lunchtime.
like 25 degrees. But you know, it makes a big difference.
It does
you look
make
at
a huge difference.
And the biggest difference is not the air temperature, it's the ground temperature.
Yeah.
It was 50 degrees. It's probably down in the 20s, and this is making all the difference.
It certainly is. But look at this, Shanahan now. He knows he needs to get the job done. He's probably been on the radio to the spotters, and they say, look, blow his doors off, and this could be the one right now. As Itay Sada goes for an absolutely blinder of a lead run, fires that car. He needs to be deep into the wall, sparks into Shannon's face. As Shanahan is right there with him. He's deep in the zones, and he's onto the door of that BMW. As Conor Shanahan looks to make one last dive up to the door of Itay Sada's BMW across the line. They are glued together, Dave.
Yeah, well, Itay Sada said, you know, I want to take down 2 Shanahans. I don't think that's going to be the case. Conor Shanahan showing again and reminding everyone why he's second in the championship, could be first in the championship after this. And I'll tell you what, Conor Shanahan did have a sketchy start here. You know, crash in qualifying. He said he wasn't feeling himself. But this is when Conor Shanahan gets dangerous, when he gets in that zone, and he was definitely in the zone over the 2 runs there. Incredible proximity, and I think Ate Sadat is going to know this himself, that didn't go as well as he would have expected.
I mean, look, you would know it yourself as a driver, you know, being in that chase position out in that outside zone. He would have known he was struggling for the grip, and he would have been able to almost feel Conor Shanahan breathing down his neck on some of these transitions and some of these outside zones, because Shanahan was glued to him. Look at this dive, Dave. He's right there, and he says, look, I can get on your door and I'll push you into these zones. We're going to party tonight, and I'm going to make sure that I get to that podium to party.
Well, that's it. Conor Shanahan had to make the move. He couldn't make any mistakes. He knew Ate Sadat was good enough to beat his brother Jack Shanahan, so he took him very seriously here. And I think Conor Shanahan approached this top 16
match. A bit of a grudge match.
Yeah, but he approached it a little bit like a final. He said, I have to get to the top 8. After that, it's damage, you know, it's damage control if you don't. So at the end of the day, Conor Shanahan doing a great job getting to where he needs to be. And I'll tell you one thing, look, Conor Shanahan's chase run, that's what it's about. It's about that proximity. It's about, you watch this and you know straight away this is what it's supposed to be like.
Well, I spoke to Conor and Jack in the break between top 32 and top 16, and I spoke to Conor and I said, how was that? It didn't look too good. And he said, every run, he said, is a final run.
Well, here we go. Conor Shanahan, you can see how much it means to him, and he's got it. Conor Shanahan goes through to the Great 8, keeps the championship hopes alive, and no harm done for Ate Sadat. Right now, the final seems a long way away for Conor Shanahan. Doors have been hit. Back ends have been replaced. Nakamura's got 1 headlight left on the car, and these 2 are going to go to battle. Conor Shanahan trying to chase down his first ever European title. He's got to go through the Japanese champion, Naoki Nakamura, who has chase driving as his special power. If he was a little Street Fighter character, he'd be like, chasing, that is my power. Conor Shanahan would be like, hopefully winning things and not breaking the car is
feeling
my
a little bit nervous.
Yeah, feeling a little bit nervous right now. So Conor Shanahan in the lead position, Nakamura in the chase position, laser focus from both, and you can see Nakamura taking a big old run up here at Conor Shanahan to try and get on the door as quick as possible. Marcin, our start line marshal, awaits. All the fans in the crowd are ready to see what happens next. It's a battle you never thought would happen, but it's happening right now.
It certainly is, and Shanahan fires that car down. Look at Nakamura, he's on the hunt for the side of that GT86, and he goes close up to the wall. Both guys absolutely door to door right now. Shanahan flicks the car across the circuit into the outside zone. Nakamura slow, shallow angle. Can he keep the pace with Shanahan? They've turned that car up to 100, Dave, to get away. And look at this from Shanahan. Starts to make a move, pulls more distance than before, and Nakamura dives across the circuit onto the door.
That is just unbelievable driving. To watch this in the flesh, amazing. Everybody here in attendance, all you guys at home, you're watching history being made. Naoki Nakamura against Conor Shanahan in a flooded quarry and a mine that's been turned into a drift track.
Don't overthink it. It doesn't have to make sense.
It never does here, does it?
There'll be 1 year where we'll be doing this on a warship in the middle of the sea, and these guys, if you get it wrong, you'll be in the ocean. It'll be game over.
Yeah, but the imagination it knows no bounds.
There's no bounds.
But I'll tell you what, watching this run, yes, Conor Shanahan's lead run, exceptional. But you've got to say Nakamura's proximity is also exceptional.
It certainly is. Look, it's phenomenal. It's incredible. It's breathtaking. That's what it is, Dave. But going back on previous experiences, the shallow angle is a big killer. And look at that line he takes into outside zone 4. It's very shallow. He does wind it on. He does rein him in. But then again, he makes a few mistakes here and there. I'm not saying that Shanahan's flawless in that lead position. He does an exceptional job at a lead run. But for me, Nakamura did make a few errors. Look at that aggression, though. Tags the door across the line.
Schmerers. He's on his door the whole way around the trackie. And what more do you want from him? He's rubbing doors. He's rubbing wheels. That's what it's about.
I don't think I want any more, because I quite like that S15. I don't really want him to break it too much. I mean, look at that. Both cars losing fenders.
Marcin getting the tape. He's going to need the magic tape.
He's going to need more magic tape.
Conor Shanahan's car has been hit as well. There's not much left of Conor Shanahan's car at this stage, and the Shanahan team give a thumbs up, but it's a nervous thumbs up.
It is a very nervous thumbs up.
It's not a happy thumbs up. They know Conor Shanahan is now under pressure. You have to replicate that level of proximity right now, or you're going out of the competition. Your championship's on the line. And
well,
Shanahan
hold on
looks,
a minute.
We have Nakamura speaking to his team.
So Nakamura, oh no, he is happy. And you know, sorry to cut across you there, Dave, but he's sitting down the back end, and when they're facing the wrong way and there's people in the car, you kind of get a little nervous that he might not make it back to the line.
I think he was just checking body work to make sure everything was okay. There was a little nudge after the finish line, or at the finish line. He's good to go. Both cars absolutely wrecked, doesn't matter.
They will be by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot of tape, a lot of hopes and dreams, a lot of glue,
a lot of
cable ties. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
The mechanicals are working, the drivers are working. Naoki Nakamura comes all the way from Japan to try and beat the best in Europe, but he's got the best beside him right now. And Conor Shanahan wants to be the European champion. He's got to go through Nakamura to get there as they go through the gears. And into that first corner, Shanahan loses ground.
Yeah, he does lose ground, but now he starts to make it back. He makes a big dive. Look at that car popping and hopping across the tarmac. But Nakamura's flying. He wants to get away. And Shanahan said he was a worry. He said he was a different style. But look at Shanahan. Dives onto the door. Nakamura wandering and wavering in the outside zone. He jumps across the circuit. Shanahan goes for the door. He looks for the back bumper, but mistakes again from Nakamura. As Shanahan gets on the back bumper.
That's a hard one to call. That's a very hard one to call. You've got to say Nakamura gets the jump. He gets ahead, but he wobbles and wavers from there. Shanahan not bringing much proximity except for outer zone 4, but then was that caused by Nakamura's lack of angle? We don't know.
I don't know. I know that Shanahan looked desperate, Dave. He was making these dives, and then Nakamura would pull away, and then Shanahan would make another big dive. That's not what we wanted to see. We want to see clean, close proximity, controlled driving. And I think that was desperate from both of these guys. We know that every driver is down the back of the paddock now, winding that suspension as soft as it will go, letting those tyres down as low as they can physically go. And look at Nakamura saying, the engine goes bang, bang. He said, I've got no more left in it.
I'll tell you what, the Conor Shanahan-Nakamura conversation there, neither are going to understand anything. But they've got the international code of put the two hands together and show you what happened. At the moment, Shanahan goes close, but look at the pace Nakamura pulls from there, but it's not on big angle. It's a strange battle because it's not clean.
It's not clean, but look, you've taken two different styles. We're taking a style from Japan that's completely different to the European style that we've all come accustomed to. This very fluid, very wild driving. You can see there Nakamura wavering in the outside zone. But from a technical point of view, Dave, I don't know if the judges would like it. I like it as a fan, but I'm not sure the judges are going to see that the same way that everyone else is.
Nakamura has a pretty heavy hit with outer zone 4 there and does waver a little bit as well. That lead run from Shanahan looking stronger than Nakamura's. Nakamura, to me, looking stronger in the chase in terms of proximity, but Kevin O'Connell will probably chime in and say, can have a good chase run without a good lead run, and did Conor Shanahan give Nakamura a better lead run than the other way around? That's the question. There's a lot of errors in there, a lot of mistakes, and Nakamura, he's analysing that, and he has no idea. Shanahan has no idea. It's a nervous moment for both of these guys. Which way is it going to go? And it's Conor Shanahan getting the win. Conor Shanahan goes through to the final 4. And you've got to say right now, he's probably the championship leader at the moment. Lauri Heinonen and Conor Shanahan are going head to head. Another dream battle here. And all of the championship points are on the line. Heinonen sat in 3rd coming into this event. Shanahan sat in 2nd. Well, they're sitting side by side now here in Ferropolis. Another heavyweight battle that may decide the whole fate of the championship in the next 40 to 50 seconds. Shanahan shakes his head, gets himself in the game. Heinenen's laser focus. This is what it's all about. Heinenen's been fast, he's been fluid, he's been on the wall. Shanahan has started to pick up the groove as it's going along. He's dispatched Nakamura. Can he dispatch Heinonen? Oh, take a moment, folks. Take a breath, because you're going to need to hold it for the next couple of minutes as these two head off the line.
Here we go. Through the gears they go. Shanahan won't want to let Lauri Heinonen get away, and he doesn't right now as Heinonen fires down to outside zone. Conor Shanahan onto the wheel, onto the front wheel, onto the door. He's all over the side of that yellow and purple S13. They transition across the circuit. Heinonen is an absolutely pinpoint perfect. And look at Shanahan, though. Not an inch between them as they come across the circuit into outside zone 5. Shanahan wants this more than ever. He wants to be the leader of the championship, and Heinonen absolutely nails it.
Outrageous driving right now in Drift Masters as they are fighting tooth and nail. And every fan from every 23 countries that make up our audience are looking at this saying it doesn't matter where they're from or what they're driving. This is drifting at its peak, at its pinnacle. We are watching the best in the world clash at the best point of their career. Heinonen goes to the wall, Shanahan goes to the wall. There was nothing between them.
There was nothing between them, Dave. Look at this from Shanahan, absolutely calculated. On the handbrake, down a gear he goes, he's on the door. Look at Lauri Heinonen, you can see him working away from the onboard inside Conor's car. Shanahan, for me, there a little shallow into the outside zone, but he picks it back up again so well. And the big transition from Heinonen doesn't even upset Shanahan. It opens the door and he gets into there, almost wheel-to-wheel contact across the line. There was nothing splitting them.
No, this is going to come down to the second run, and it's going to come down to who's pushing too far. We're at that thin edge now. We're at the edge of the cliff. Someone's fallen over it. That's what's going to happen, because you can't keep this up. You can't drive at these extremities and not expect a mistake at some point. Will it come from Shanahan? Will it come from Heinonen? It didn't come on the first run. They're both even Stevens, and Marcin is going to run into that bush in a minute going, I don't even want any part of this. They are going to war here on track as Shanahan now leads in Heinonen.
Yeah, look at this. Heinonen doesn't want to let him get away. He tags him on initiation. And when he messes himself up massively, Heinonen throws himself out of competition. And Conor Shanahan looks across and says, well, you know what? That's how it happens.
I told you, this is what's going to happen, Ian. I'm not saying I wanted to say I told you so,
it looks
but they went too
now,
far.
Dave.
It went too far. Someone was going to push too far, and it looked to me like Heinonen tried to get too greedy on the run-in. He made the hit, he caused some damage. I'm not sure why he shut down, but something went very wrong, and Shanahan will have a look in the mirror and say, he's not here, he's not there, where is he?
Well, there we go. Look, Heinonen makes his way back, and I think he's done some damage to the front of that car, Dave, and I think Lauri Heinonen may have just really hurt his championship hopes there.
I think he took too much out of it. Look, he went too aggressive, and he made contact on before even they get to the first zone.
Yeah, it was brave. Look at this. What?
I think Lauri tried to be superhuman there. It didn't work. It might have worked. It's worked in the past for some drivers, but he's hit the lead car offline through the first zone, and Lauri shuts down, and I think something's happened to Lauri's car. I think something's bent or something's broken on the front steering that he couldn't continue. You can see Jack Shanahan watching on in the back. You see this, we're going to try and decipher this sign language for a moment, but the decision is going to be in to face Piotr Więcek in the final. It's going to be Conor Shanahan getting the win, and after a crash at the end of qualifying, here he is back in the final, and maybe that's what champions are made of, Ian. Maybe that's what it's all about. It hasn't happened before, it's about to happen now. Więcek chasing back to the top of the tree. He's the reigning champion. Shanahan, the current championship leader, wants to be the current champion. But if you want to see two guys go head-to-head for all the marbles to prove a point of who is the best driver in Europe today, right now, this is the battle to decide it. Shanahan is the newcomer. Więcek's the old wall that's there that they all have to punch through to get that big trophy, but he's got to do it right now. He's got to do it, Shanahan, from the off. He's got to be on the door. We watched some of the best battles we've ever seen tonight. This has to be the best one. They've got to be at their absolute A-game. Więcek in the lead, Shanahan in the chase. They are go.
Yeah, the light goes green. They come through the gears. Więcek's going to want this one more than ever. He fires down onto initiation, but look at Shanahan. He's right with him. He's closer than anyone's been on the outside zone. He's door-to-door, wheel-to-wheel with Więcek as he flicks the car across the circuit. Więcek tries to upset Shanahan, but it didn't pay off, and now Shanahan wants to repay the favour. He dives across, almost makes contact. He's on the wheel, he's on the door, he pushes the champion across the line.
Absolutely insane from Conor Shanahan. He found something there. He went deep, and he found more than he's had in any other battle tonight. They have dialed that car up to incredible levels. Hearing from the marshals, they are both running 8 PSI on 140 tread wear, 285 rear semi-slicks. They are putting so much grip in these cars that it doesn't even make them easy to drive. They're hard to drive, but they're making it look like it's working. Shanahan with a phenomenal chase run. Best of the year for me from him.
Yeah, unbelievable. This was absolutely unbelievable. Look at the initiation, both guys deep into the outside zone, and then from there on out, Shanahan just gets the confidence, dials it onto the door, and he is within touching distance of that S15 the whole way around that circuit. There was no mistakes from either of those guys. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Watch the transitions. They don't even make sense. Shanahan's first is risky, but his second, I think, is even more risky. They go for it. He knows he's got to do something special. He's only got one chance in the chase, and he knows Więcek's going to bring the fight. Watch how close he goes here on the transition. Shanahan in the chase position almost takes the back end off Więcek's car. You can't get any closer without making contact. Shanahan says, your move, Peter. You're the current champion. I want to be champion, and that's the difference. Well, it's got to be a decision made from the judges. It's the winner of the penultimate round of Drift Masters in Germany. And there's no winner. It's a one more time. And why are they celebrating? These people are insane. There's something wrong with these drivers. Shut this event down. They should be annoyed. They got to do all that again. They're cheering and jumping. Under the lights here in Ferropolis, it is Piotr Więcek, the current and reigning two-time champion, to take on Conor Shanahan, the would-be champion. doesn't get any bigger, doesn't get any wilder, and doesn't get any more serious in world drifting than this.
Well, they're on the line, ready to rock and roll. Look at this, the focus. Shanahan puts his fist up to the camera, wipes the sweat from his brow and says, I'm ready to do business. This is it. This is the chance. This is the opportunity for him to prove who he is. The light goes green at the bottom of the start line, and we are good to go. It's Więcek to lead out Conor Shanahan for the final step on the podium away. So Shanahan fires down onto the door, and he's closer than he was before, and he's deeper than he is before. And look at this, the bumper is already off, and Więcek's car is dispatched by Shanahan as he goes closer onto the wall than he was before. Foot brake on foot brake, they're dialing in, they're absolutely glued to each other. Right now, as Shanahan pushes Więcek across the line.
Incredible, this is what it's all about. I'm going to have to look at the replay. I thought there was contact between the two cars on outer zone 1, but the fact that Więcek rubbed the bumper off and then Shanahan just smashed it off on the transition, how they are still going this close without making a mistake is just insane. It's superhuman.
It's because they're the best, Dave. They are the best in Europe.
Well, keep going. That's what I'm thinking right now. Here we are. Conor Shanahan fires in. Does he hit Więcek here? This is the moment. Fires in very close. Yeah, I think he touches the door.
He does. There's no tire mark. Watch this. There's no tire mark.
Look under the symbol on the door. Yeah. And Więcek says, come at me. No problem. Let's keep going.
Oh, it barely affects Więcek. Więcek is in the car.
Watch this transition. Look, the bumper. Boom. Absolutely. Shanahan picks up another bumper on his way through and dispatches it as he goes close again. This is incredible.
It's unbelievable, Dave.
Like, let's be honest here. We're going into the second. I'm just saying, let's be honest. We're going into the second half of this battle, even Stevens.
You think they're going in even?
I think so. There's contact, but usually contact spells disaster. It doesn't affect Więcek that badly. And Więcek just takes the hit and says, I don't even care. Stays on it, runs the walls, perfect lead run. Shanahan, as good as he can do it. Now, this is the moment where Więcek has to go to a very strange place, a place he's not comfortable with, a place which is beyond his control. If he wants to beat Shanahan here, he has to risk absolutely everything. This is the only way he's top step tonight, and here we go.
He's off the line, he's through the gears, and look at the concentration on Więcek's face as he initiates the same time as Shanahan. Flames are up from the back of the car as he knows he's at 15 onto the door of that GT86. Shanahan goes to the wall. Więcek's closer than he was before. He now makes a big dive in outside zone 4. He's wheel to wheel. This is closer than they've ever been as they fire through that transition. Shanahan on a flyer, but Więcek not going anywhere. And now the separation opens up as Shanahan takes it across the line.
Unreal. I can't believe we're still watching these two. I'm just going to put the argument out there. You can continue it on the internet. Best in the world right now, Conor Shanahan and Piotr Więcek. Just put it out there. You watched it. 4 runs of perfection, of door rubbing, of smashing, of not spinning out, of hitting walls, precision. That is what it's all about. There's marks from Shanahan's car on Więcek. There's marks from Więcek on Shanahan. That's what this sport is all about. They have just jumped out of those cars, buzzing after stealing the show. And you know what? It never really comes in the final like that. You always expect the final to blow up, but it doesn't. Tonight it did. We got our moment. And look at this from Więcek from the off. He's closer than anybody's ever been on that initiation. And he makes it work.
He makes it work, Dave. He makes it work so well. Look at the dive. He just keeps edging that car in more and more and more until he gets so close that he's uncomfortable with how close he is. And Shanahan is absolutely pinpoint perfect. There's no way that he couldn't give Więcek a good chase because he has opened the door. Więcek is there. Look at that on outside zone 4. That is so close.
I have no idea which way this one's going. Absolutely no idea. And if you're at home giving me an opinion, you're a liar. You have no idea either because that is so close. There's only 3 men that are going to decide who wins this one, and they are having a serious debate to my right now because that is some of the best driving I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're still discussing it now. They're looking at the replays that they've got. They're having a chat between them. I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
Look at these scenes. And it looks like the decisions are in. Will Więcek take it? Will Shanahan take it? Here we go. First place goes to Piotr Więcek. Gets the win. He's back. He's in business. And he's coming for everyone in Poland at the final round of the year. Więcek still in the championship hunt, but Conor Shanahan will still be all smiles. It was a shaky start for him, but he gets second on the podium. Ian, what a night for drifting. Well, here I got to talk about this one.
Yep.
This is the big championship moment. Conor Shanahan will take on Mika Keskikorpi. Keskikorpi qualifying a little bit down the order, but well capable here. Shanahan again, engine problems, no practice again today. The only runs Conor Shanahan has done of the track are his 2 qualifying runs. That's all he's done of this track. He has only had 2 runs since the start of competition, and he is the championship leader. This is pressure of the highest level, Ian, and Mika Keskikorpi will know that that is a wounded Shanahan beside him. It doesn't matter if he's leading the championship, he can take him out here. And Mika Keskikorpi will know how good Shanahan is, how good his lead run is, and Conor Shanahan's got to be feeling the pressure.
He certainly has got to be feeling the pressure, but a winner, a champion, a masterclass driver will shake that pressure off, Dave, and say, that's just for the tyres. I am the one that wants to be on top step of both the podiums. They're through the gears. The start line goes green, and here we go. It's going to be Shanahan to lead out Keskikorpi, and Keskikorpi wants this one. He's hungry, he needs some results, and he's up onto the door of that GT86, but Shanahan looks flawless at the moment. Oh, Keskikorpi gets lost in the smoke on the transition, now loses a whole load of ground as Shanahan absolutely pins it to the wall and looks for the fast transition across the circuit. Keskikorpi is going to go for a risky dive in outside zone 5. Can he make it pay off? He can, but there's still shallow proximity, and once again another little dive, but he can't get there.
Well, it was just one mistake. We talked about it in qualifying. One mistake can be enough, and Mika Keskikorpi makes it. It's on the inner zone. He just got lost in the smoke, or didn't know where he was on the track. Got it really out of shape. And Conor Shanahan, this is his 3rd lap of the track this weekend, and it looks like he's been here all week.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's textbook, and I think this is what a champion can do. He can come out here with limited practice and still lay down a 96 and 97 point qualifying run. And for me, Keskikorpi, I think the occasion and the smoke, watch this, he gets way caught up. The smoke gets in his face, he goes for the transition, and he transitions way offline.
I'm going to tell you exactly what happened there. I think he's running no windows on the car, Mika Keskikorpi, and Shanahan's smoke went into the cabin of Keskikorpi's car, and he couldn't even see the steering wheel. You'll notice Shanahan with the windows up.
Yep.
This has happened before in competition. Watch, there's no windows on Mika's car, and I think all of that has gone inside, and he's lost where he was on the track.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the smoke blinded him completely. He couldn't see where he was going, and before he knew it, he was in the wrong place on the circuit. And once you've lost that proximity, once you've lost that line, it's game over.
But Mika came back into it. He did everything he could do to put up a fight here. But now Shanahan may be sitting with a small advantage as Keskikorpi goes into the lead. He's a very capable driver, Mika Keskikorpi. He's one of Finland's best, and Shanahan knows not to underestimate anyone here tonight. As they come off the line, second half of the battle, Shanahan's got to get the job done here.
Yeah, he's got the hometown heroes and the fans behind him right now. They're screaming and shouting his name. Can he get the job done? Big initiation from Keskikorpi. He knows he needs to try and get away. He's out of outside zone 1 a little early. Conor Shanahan playing it safe, but look at the transition from Shanahan, no messing around. He mirrors him, he absolutely mimics every move that Keskikorpi has to offer. He's glued to the side, and that BMW Touring, they come through the centre of the circuit. Shanahan not going to get lost. He makes a little dive, but now he's shallow. But Keskikorpi struggles in outside zone 5, and that's a big mistake that opens the door, and Shanahan takes the step in.
Yeah, to me, looks like the job done for Conor Shanahan. I'll tell you why. 2 big errors from Mika Keskikorpi on both runs. He had obviously that offline moment in his chase run. It looked to me like something stalled up on the car as he came to outer zone 5, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And you know, I was watching it on the monitors and in person. Looked like he just struggled to get that car going. Not sure if there's a mechanical issue there, but wow, just watching these guys make it look this easy is almost, I mean, this is superhuman stuff right now. So as you can see, Conor Shanahan fires through. This is the bit that really impressed me. Keep Keskikorpi, great transition on the inner zone from Keskikorpi. Look at this. Oh, so close. One of the coolest shots I've ever seen in drifting. And as he comes in, you can see Conor starts to turn the screw as the lap goes on, knowing he needs that little bit of proximity. Keskikorpi bouncing off the walls a little bit in front of him. It's just such a unique track. It's a really hard thing to chase. But it looks to me like there may have been one mistake too many from Mika there. As Conor Shanahan, as we mentioned before, nothing sewn up just yet. He's got to do a lot of work here tonight to get that championship. It's going to not be decided anytime soon. But this is as good a way as any to start his campaign if the judges agree with what we're saying. But Mika Keskikorpi, look at the finish for that. They're proud of him. He's had a great season. He's done a good job, in my opinion. And Look at the back of Keski Korpi's car. It's absolutely in ribbons. It's bent every which way. And let's see which way it goes. It is Conor Shanahan getting the win. He can't believe it. It's been a really tough weekend for our current points leader. Move on to the big championship battle. Conor Shanahan has to win. He has to get it done here because everyone else is looking on form. Shanahan needs to stay in the fight. Conor Shanahan, our current championship points leader, goes up against David Spussup. He's a wild card, but don't let that fool you. He's every bit as good as anyone else on this track tonight. The Shanahans are ready. The Irish flags are high. The Polish flags are high. And Spussup would love to upset the apple cart here, be the big name tonight, and shake up the championship as the wild card driver. Hold your breath. This is the big battle of our top 16. Can Conor Shanahan get the job done? Ian, this has never been more tense in a top 16 battle.
I'm nervous, Dave. I'm nervous for them. They've come off the line. Shanahan needs this one to secure the championship just that one step further, but Spussup wants to stop him dead in his tracks, and he's going to try everything he can. Look at this from Shanahan, though, nice and deep in outside zone 1. That pocket opens up, and it allows Spussup into the groove, and now groove opened once again as Spussup absolutely fires onto the door of Conor Shanahan's GT86. They're wheel to wheel. It's deep onto the walls. Shanahan flies through the centre of the circuit. Look, dab at a handbrake, but the dive from Spussup didn't even make sense. But he backs it in and makes a mistake, and that allows Shanahan to drive away.
That's a big run for Conor Shanahan, a nerve settler, but Daffy Spussup pulling some moves. That dive across the centre now, he did cost him a little bit, but the Irish fans, you can tell, they're happy with that run from Conor Shanahan, but David Spussup he's not to be trifled with. That was an incredible chase run. He knew the quality. You're going up against the championship leader, you're the wild card. Why not throw all the chips on the table? That's what he did.
He certainly did that, Dave. Look at this. For me, it was the dive through the smoke, through the centre of the circuit. It was just unbelievable. The Spussup was right there. Look at that one wheel off the tarmac as they come through there on that inside zone 2. Shanahan looks dialed. He looks absolutely in the zone. He's working away. Look at this. Nice angle to the wall, fulfilling all of the zones. Spussup right with him, though. But watch this again. A brave move. Boom, through the smoke. Big dive down. Shanahan's almost all 4 wheels locked up there, trying to scrub the speed into outside zone 5, and that kind of upset Spussup, I think, a little bit. Kind of put him in a weird position.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tail of the tape for the whole night, really. You know, the lead driver trying to slow down to make the outside zone, and the chase car starting to accelerate. So they're doing two opposite things. The lead car is trying to avoid the wall. The chase car not looking at the wall, looking at the lead car. And all of a sudden we get this moment every time where we're like, whoa, and everybody sort of settles themselves to get through it. So Spussup now in the lead. Shanahan's got to go for it. He knows Spussup's put in a good chase run, and now it's up to Shanahan to put it on the door. If he wants to be the champion here tonight, this is where he has to make a statement, and he's got to take out Spussup.
He certainly has. He's got to be flawless, Dave. He's got to be absolutely clinical. They come through the gears down. Nice initiation. Shanahan closer to Spussup, though. Look at this. This is world class from Conor Shanahan at the moment. Dialed onto the door he goes. They look for that inside zone 2, and Shanahan almost gets himself stuck on the inside, but he makes it work, and Spussup shuts it down.
I think Spussup's had a mechanical failure. In the transition, something weird happened. You could see his car shut off, but we're going to get a replay of it. Was it contact with Conor Shanahan? It didn't appear to be, and I really would not like to see David Spussup bow out with mechanical alone, because it's so harsh.
I don't think it was. I think it was mechanical failure for Spussup. You can see Shanahan happy. I think he knows.
I think the Irish fans definitely think that it was mechanical failure, but I think something broke on the back of Spussup's car. That's what happened there, and he was on one. He was on one up till there. Great line for Spussup. Watch the transition from Shanahan here. They're right close with him. As they transition back here, Spussup goes to go back on the power.
Nothing.
No power. Yeah, no power. Just car shut down. Well, I mean, that could be a lucky moment for Conor Shanahan. And maybe that's what you need to try and be champion at such a crazy championship, is a bit of luck. So it looks to me like there is definitely
the car shut down on him, Dave. Oh, man, and you know what? For Spussup, this is even harder, because that car has been doing just the national championship, and, you know, it hasn't had a tough ride.
It's given up at the last hurdle here. And David Spussup, he's all smiles still. I mean, this was just an occasion for him to come and show what he's all about. We'd love to see him back for a full season. But a big championship decision means Conor Shanahan goes through to the top 8. He is closer and closer to that championship. Oh, they just keep coming. Conor Shanahan.
I was hoping for a break.
Yeah, there ain't no breaks coming. Not for us, not for you guys, not for anyone. It is all the way to the top of the step of the podium now. Conor Shanahan, can he get the championship? Well, he has to do it again against Correa. Correa's on form. This is the guy for me that could unstick Conor Shanahan. Correa is that kind of driver. He's been on form all day. The Portuguese man has nothing to lose here and all to gain. The Portuguese fans in the grandstand are ready to rock and roll as Conor Shanahan sits in the lead position as the higher qualifier, but Correa is pumped for this. He would love to take down Conor Shanahan. He would love to make a statement here. He's already been on the podium. Conor Shanahan's been on the podium. Conor Shanahan's thinking about that championship. Here we go. Championship on the line. Conor Shanahan, Diogo Correa, into that first corner they go.
Oh, look at this from Shanahan. He's already pedaling the car. He's very, very angry, and he fires that car in, and Correa is right with him, though. It looked like Correa was going to lose some ground, but no hope for Shanahan. Correa making brave transitions as he fires that car across the circuit. Shanahan's on a flyer. Correa hits the wall, upsets the line. Shanahan looking dialed as they look for that touch and go. Oh, Correa with a big brake transition, but it doesn't pay off. Shanahan tags the wall. This is messy towards the end, but Shanahan looking stronger.
What's going on? I mean, from where my perspective was moves in there I haven't seen all night. Correa, I don't know what sort of a transition he attempted. Then Shanahan goes, oh, I'm just so sick. And then he hits the wall as well. And you got to think about it with Shanahan, every time he hits the wall, his rear wheel is so close.
So close.
To the back. It's dangerous to the back of that corner. This is just phenomenal. Correa with the brave moves in the chase position. Conor Shanahan has had a tough night of it all the way through tonight. No one is backing down. Conor Shanahan threw that inner. So look at Correa. Look at the transition. Oh, come on. That is phenomenal from Diogo Correa. Running a Mercedes 3.2 turbo with 850 horsepower in a BMW. And look, Correa hits the wall hard though.
Yeah,
big mistake from Correa. Takes the back end of that. What happens here is Correa comes through the smoke.
I think Correa goes for a big wide flick and it just doesn't pay off. He doesn't realise where Conor is on the transition.
I think he gets a little lost in the smoke there.
Oh, that's weird on the wall.
Bumpers, tail lights, rubber everywhere. And yeah, you can see Conor actually hits the wall with the rear wheel. So to me, it looks like the bigger mistake with Diogo Correa, hitting the wall really hard. And look at the bump, look at the scenes. Bumpers flying off the car, LEDs, flames in the sky, fans cheering on.
This is insane.
This is drifting in 2023, folks. This is drifting in 2023. Undeniable. It just looks like a photo that's slightly moving.
Yeah, it does.
It's just crazy.
It looks like someone's photoshopped it.
Yeah, it looks like...
Look at all the people. All the way up, top to bottom.
Nine stories of audience.
Not a seat missing.
On a night like tonight, it's a good thing we've got the masking tape, because the masking tape is out to keep Correa's back end of the car together. Now, Shanahan, I think he's going to know. His spotter, his radio, his team are going to... Jack Shanahan has now stepped into the position of spotter for Conor Shanahan, and he's told him Correa's made a mistake. He's hit the wall, but don't go too easy. Don't go too easy, because you never know what's going to happen. We've seen a lot of...
Where's the line, though? Where's the line?
You leave it too much,
and
then it's one more time. So Shanahan has to put some pressure.
You push too hard, you make contact.
Yeah, he has to put some pressure. I don't know what way he's going to approach it, but we're about to find out. We don't know. We just watch on in disbelief every run tonight as Correa in the lead position, Shanahan in the chase position. Correa with that big flick into that first corner. Shanahan fires in. Look at Correa going right to the wall and Shanahan right to the door. Look at this. It's just impeccable driving from Correa and Shanahan as they transition through. And now Shanahan jumps up onto the door. Correa can't make the same mistake as and Dustin gets a perfect run in the lead. This is unbelievable from Diogo Correa on the outside run. Missing a little bit of that touch and go. Shanahan now starts to reel in the Portuguese driver. Oh, big angle and a touch with the wall from Correa. Shanahan so calculated up onto the door. Exclamation point, unbelievable.
Just breathtaking. The chase from Conor was just flawless.
We are watching the best of the best in the prime of their career right now. And it's a joy to watch. We're almost being numbed to how phenomenal it is what we're watching here, because everybody is on it.
There isn't a run that goes by, and unless it's a mechanical failure, there isn't a run that goes by, and I think this is going to be a tame run. Every run is final, 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 final.
I can't believe there's still 4 taillights in both cars after all the runs we've seen tonight. Look at this. Correa's entry on big angle to the wall, and then Shanahan just follows him in right up onto the door. He's watching Correa. Correa's watching the wall. Look at the two of them flying through those inner zones. Transition from Shanahan's great. This is where, look, Correa's bashing the wall. Shanahan's bashing the door. Like, what more do you want?
I just wanted to keep going all night. Just keep doing this constantly. Run
well, we have to find a winner. It has to be a driver going into the top 4 at some point. And will it be Correa? Will it be Conor Shanahan? Judges' decisions are dropping in. This is a big one, big decision for the championship. Look at the eyes of Conor Shanahan. Look at the eyes of Diogo Correa. It's Conor Shanahan. He's into the top 4. Conor Shanahan is into the top 4, and he's very close now. And this is for everything we've started in Mondello, all the way through 5 different European events. It comes down to the final 4. Shanahan, the Irish are on their feet. The Polish are on their feet. It is going to be electric as these two go around the track. Hold on to everything around you. This is all that matters in drifting right now. Can Conor Shanahan do the unthinkable and win it here in front of 53,000? He had no practice, qualified. Had no practice, won every battle. Changed an engine overnight. But Korpelinski's never made a mistake, and Korpelinski will not be phased by Shanahan. You have 2 of the most consistent drivers on the grid, 2 incredible line drivers going head-to-head. Here we go. Lights go green. Shanahan in the lead position, Korpelinski in the chase, and Korpelinski's right there. Korpelinski dives into that chase position. Shanahan goes to the wall. Korpelinski goes to the door. Korpelinski's hungry for it here as Shanahan goes through the first inner zone. Boom, through the second inner zone. Korpelinski's right on his tail. Korpelinski not backing down, Korpelinski right up to the door. This is perfect from Shanahan, perfect from Korpelinski all the way through the center section. This is inch perfect from both drivers, the Irishman and the Polish. Jeez, this is unbelievable. Look at this run. Korpelinski pushing the door in.
Wow.
Take a moment, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching a masterclass.
That was unbelievable. For me, there was one little glimmer of hope for Conor Shanahan in that battle, in that lead, where Korpelinski came into outside zone 6 and shallowed up the angle. But watch this from beginning to end. This was textbook stuff from Conor Shanahan. That lead line was phenomenal, and it opened the door for Korpelinski. He matched the angle. Every transition was perfect. Look at that. You couldn't have got closer if you tried without pushing him through the wall. It was unbelievable. Korpelinski was hungry for it, and he wanted it. But Conor Shanahan was rock steady out front like a champion would be.
You know what? Looking at that first run, nothing decided there.
For me, there's one small little chink in the armour, and I'm not sure if we're going to get to see it. It was when they came into that outside zone 6. Korpelinski made ever such a slight error, and it put him at a funny angle.
Smallest of margins.
Smallest of margins.
Shanahan's got to go for it here. He's got to go for it. It's all the marbles.
Look at the run-in, Dave.
It's his entire life's dream in 50 seconds. But he's got to go there. He's got to put it on the door. He knows Korpelinski's good. Shanahan has got to win it. If he wants to be champion, he's got to throw everything at Korpelinski here.
Oh, he's going to go for it, Dave. Korpelinski sets it up nicely as Shanahan shallows up the angle. He tags the door. It's dirty from both of them. It's not the cleanest. And now they get back into it. Shanahan finds his form once again. He settles the nerves, jumps onto the rear quarter. He's closer than Korpelinski. They're both scrappy. They're both in the wall. They're touching each other. It's wheel to wheel. They're banging doors all the way across the circuit. Shanahan makes a break. Korpelinski goes into outside zone 5, and Shanahan is on the door. Conor goes for the wheel across the line.
Forget it. That is incredible. I've got to say, I never in my lifetime thought I would see driving of this level, ever. Korpelinski and Conor Shanahan, regardless of the result, that is one of the best battles you will ever see. We're talking about the most minute of details because we're expecting perfection when that's not even possible. Incredible. Korpelinski and Shanahan. Korpelinski, to me, has a little error. Shanahan, to me, a little bit better proximity, but it's not perfect. Shanahan has that understeer on the first corner.
Yep. Korpelinski's lead, for me, wasn't the cleanest.
And look at Lauri Heinonen looking over. Lauri Heinonen warming tires on the track, just looking up at the screens through the windscreen of his car while he warms the tires. He's going to know what this means. This is the big decision. Will Shanahan be 2023 champion, or will Korpelinski go to the final? There's an argument for both sides here.
There is, and I'll tell you why the judges are going through this one with a fine-tooth comb, Dave. They do not want to make one mistake. Look at this, big mistake. Conor Shanahan, look at the front wheels.
Yes, an understeer, big understeer from Shanahan on that first corner.
And they're both out of the outside zone, though. This wasn't clean from Korpelinski or Shanahan. There was a lot of mistakes in there.
I'm nervous for both drivers.
I am very nervous for both drivers. Look at the understeer. Look, you can see Conor Shanahan crossed his arms the opposite way. That means that there was big understeer into that first outside zone.
Oh, this. Look how good this looks on screen. And we're just watching what you guys are watching at home, and it just looks absolutely ridiculous. It's like something at a Mad Max in a stadium. Gladiatorial is what this is. Two gladiators of the sport going head to head with the biggest prize in the game on the line. I will remind you, Shanahan gets the call, he is the champion. Korpelinski gets the call, he goes to the final of the biggest live drift event in the world. It looks like we do have a decision dropping in. I have no idea which way this one's going to go. Poland versus Ireland, championship on the line. And Shanahan, now, here we go. He'll know, the camera's back on him. This is it. Left for Shanahan, right for Korpelinski. The championship on the line. Here we go.
Oh!
It's a one more time. No, we can't take any more of this.
Wow.
We can't take any more of this. And Conor Shanahan can't take any more of this. He never won a European Championship, never won it. After 8 years of trying between Jack and Conor, never won it. And there's two battles, and you can see the judges even are sitting up because this is big, this is huge. This is for all the marbles, Ian. Shanahan will be the lead driver. Korpelinski in the chase, and they're going to push this. They're going to go further than they did the first time. Hold on to your seats. Here we go.
Here we go. Through they come. Look at this big flick from Shanahan. Calculated from Korpelinski. They don't want to make a mistake this time. Shanahan deep in outside zone 1. Korpelinski painted on the side of that Toyota GT86 as they come through. Korpelinski almost takes the front end off of his car on the transition. He does take the front end off the car as Shanahan gets into the wall. Korpelinski stays with him. He doesn't care about the front bumper. Oh, and he tags Shanahan on the transition. Korpelinski's thirsty for it. He's hungry. He wants it more than ever. As Shanahan leads them into that final outside zone, Korpelinski loses some ground.
Korpelinski took the front end off the car
and
the back end off the car and still finished on the door of Conor Shanahan. Didn't back off one bit, lost every panel off the car. You could not ask more from these drivers right now. You can't ask more physically or even from a physics perspective, from a gravity perspective, you can't ask more.
Look at this. Korpelinski was absolutely painted up the side of that Toyota GT86. He couldn't get any closer than him. Boom! Completely rips the front bumper off the car, wedges it underneath the front wheels and keeps going. Doesn't bail out of it, doesn't back down. He said, this is my opportunity to try and get on the podium.
It's just outrageous. Look at this. He's just driving over his own bodywork, smashing through his own lights, his own bumpers, and he doesn't even lose that much ground. He's right there with Shanahan. Look at this.
It touched
nudge
the door.
to the door. Oh, that's what it's all about. That's a top 4 battle for us in Drift Masters. Conor Shanahan's under pressure here. Big, big pressure.
Oh, this is going to be a big ask for Conor Shanahan now. He has to
I don't
really
know
go.
what has he got to do.
He's got to go to an uncomfortable place, Dave. He's got to go to a place.
Looking at this chase run from Korpelinski, watch the dive through the smoke. He comes through half the car in absolute bits, and he comes through. Korpelinski's chase run, that's everything Korpelinski had. He threw everything at Shanahan there. And Shanahan's lead run is good, but oh, the nerves right now. You can see the nervous faces in the audience because Conor Shanahan, remember, if he goes too hard and loses the car, he could hand the championship to Lauri either way. What does he do? What does he do? Does he save the car for the 3rd and 4th place playoff? Does he go for it here to try and get to the final and win the championship? I think he's got to go for it. I think it's too hard to know.
He's going to go for it. He's going to go for it. We know Conor Shanahan. We know the attitude. We know the Shanahan mentality. We know he's going to push 110%. He's not going to let Pavel Korpelinski knock him out of his championship this late in the game.
And you know that the mentality with the Shanahans right now is if they have to put that GT86 in the bin tonight, but they have that trophy, they will not care. They will sacrifice every car they have, every part they have, every suspension component to get that European title. Korpelinski, look how calm he is. After that run, you expect the adrenaline to be high. Korpelinski is laser focused. I feel tonight, look at the front of the car, it's absolutely destroyed. The bumper bars deciding to leave the equation. Korpelinski knows that all these fans, and most of them Polish, want a Polish winner. Can you imagine the atmosphere in here if a Polish driver wins this event? Korpelinski wants that to happen, and that's his motivation. Take a moment, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you haven't paid a lot for your seat because you're only going to need the edge of it for the final couple of runs of this championship fight.
Conor Shanahan is taking, he's nearly in the tunnel at this stage, trying to take a run in on Korpolinski. This one is for everything on the line. Shanahan has to win it. Here we go.
Oh, look at this, he's on the back bumper. He's not letting Korpolinski get away. No chance of understeer this time from Shanahan as he jumps into it. Korpolinski not as deep onto the wall as Shanahan. But Korpolinski needs to be technical and clinical as Shanahan tags the wall with the front bumper. Now he's back into it again as Korpolinski drags the back end of the S14 around the wall. Shanahan's as close, if not closer, than Korpolinski. Takes the risk on the transition into outside zone 5. Shanahan up onto the door, into the wall, onto the back bumper. Shanahan!
That is unbelievable, Ian. That is beyond what we've seen all night from Conor Shanahan in that chase position. Give it to Korpolinski in the lead as well. That is as close as it gets. I didn't think Shanahan had it to turn that one around, but I was so wrong, and I'm so happy that I've got to witness these two incredible drivers go head-to-head here tonight. The audience, there is mouths open everywhere in attendance. For the people here that have never seen drifting before, they are watching the best of it on the first night. Where do you go in the world to see better drifting? On the door, not a panel on the car straight, fighting tooth and nail. Conor Shanahan's car in bits, Korpolinski's car in bits. And Conor Shanahan, that is an unbelievable battle. That is going to be played in the highlight reel for many years to come. But it's a tense one for both drivers. Conor Shanahan gets out of it, look, he smiles. Either way, he knows that's all he had. That's all he had on the line. That was madness, absolute madness from Korpolinski and Conor Shanahan. And it's only the final 4, but it's the most important decision in Conor Shanahan's career, because again, I will remind you all, if he wins this, and there's tears in the audience right now, if he wins this, he is the champion. If Korpolinski wins it, Heinonen back in the game. Here comes the result, the biggest one of the year. Shanahan is the champion. Shanahan is the champion. He's the 2023 champion, and the emotions fall out of after the longest night, I think, in the history of the sport. Ian, this is going to be do or die. This could be a crash. Let's be honest. It is the final battle of the 2023 Drift Masters European Championship, the biggest and best season of the series to date. At the biggest event of all time, we have the biggest final of all time, and it is Shanahan versus Heinonen. Ireland versus Finland. The flags are waving from both sides. The Starlight Marshal taking one last check over Conor Shanahan's car before he's about to send them. Lauri Heinonen, he wants the trophy. He wants the title of biggest drift event winner of all time. Shanahan has already cleaned up the championship. The Starlight Marshal is pumping up the crowd. The party's beginning in Poland. The lights are on all around the stadium. All the lights are illuminating the stadium. This is a special moment. Here we go, the final of Drift Masters this year. Heinonen to lead him in.
Yeah, look at this, Heinonen on it already as he fires through. Look at Shanahan, are you serious? That's the closest we've seen so far. Lauri Heinonen absolutely excellent in the outside zone, but there is no shaking. Conor Shanahan, he wants it, he's going wheel to wheel, he pushes Lauri Heinonen round outside zone 4. There is no room for error. They come through the centre of the circuit. Lauri Heinonen looks for 5, and Shanahan can't be lost. He cannot get rid of him. He is glued to the door as Conor Shanahan pushes Lauri Heinonen through the finish line.
That's absolutely outrageous. That is outrageous.
That's the best I've ever seen.
That is one of the best runs I've ever seen in my lifetime. Forget a final, forget the people, forget the lights, just in drifting in general, I have never witnessed a lead and chase like that. And all 3 judges just threw their pens over the table and said, what do you want us to do with that?
You can't be serious.
I don't know what to say. That is perfection. Look at this in the replay. Heinonen goes to the wall. Shanahan is on the door, millimeters the whole track. Do you want to talk about 1 and 2 in the championship? Why they're 1 and 2 in the championship? This is why.
This is just doesn't even make sense what Conor Shanahan did. There wasn't a moment on that circuit where he wasn't on the door, on a panel, within a meter of Lauri Heinonen's car?
I don't know if we have any more energy left, but there's one run left in this championship, and it all comes down to the man from Finland that the entire country got behind, that the entire country pushed him to this level, and they're in those grandstands right now. If Lauri Heinonen wants to do it, this is the time to do it, and he's got to go beyond what Shanahan did, and I don't even know what that looks like, Ian. This is the biggest run of Lauri Heinonen's life. Can he take down the champ to win the biggest drift event of all time? Here we go.
It's a big question, and he's going to answer it right now as Shanahan fires in. Shanahan absolutely glued to the wall, no messing around. Heinonen's with him though, but Heinonen doesn't have the same proximity, and I don't think Heinonen can ask the same question. I don't think he has the answer. The proximity isn't there from Lauri Heinonen, as Shanahan glues the back bumper of that GT86 to the wall as he fires through the touch and go. He is up and gone, and Lauri Heinonen has to make errors. Oh, but Shanahan tags the wall, almost throws it away as Heinonen backs it in across the line.
Unbelievable again. What a final. What a finish. And Lauri Heinonen, well, if the world doesn't know who he is now, well, now you know. We done learned you of who Lauri Heinonen is. This guy is going to be on everyone's lips for the next couple of years, and he may not have got the championship this year, but boy, is he a contender for the future now. How many contenders can we stack in this championship into the future? Conor Shanahan, well, that was, I don't know how he's controlled his emotions after all the hullabaloo of winning the championship, but my God, did these boys put it all on the track tonight. Ian, you said the proximity wasn't there, but if you think back to the 32, you'd have been mind blown by this. You'd have been saying this was the greatest thing you've ever seen, what Lauri Heinonen's doing. That's the level it's jumped up through the competition.
That is the level we expect. That is the level that these guys are at now, where we expect final run on final run. And this is it. It looks like the decision is falling
coming in. It is going to be a decision for the biggest win of any drift event ever. More people watching than any other drift event ever. Shanahan and Heinonen, this is for top step on the podium tonight. We know that Shanahan is the champion. Heinonen will take second in the championship. But tonight, on the grandest stage of them all, will Conor Shanahan do it twice?
Can he do the double?
Will Lauri Heinonen steal the thunder away? The decision is dropping in. Is it Shanahan's night? It is Shanahan's night. Champion, biggest event winner. He's done the double, and boy, did he work for it this weekend.
Wow.
Engine failure, no practice for either qualifying or battles, and boy, he won it. So let's have a look at the best moments of Conor Shanahan.